I apologize. Thank you so much. Just finished it today. That mug was ginormous. What? It's something.
That clock is a little slow. It's like 6:56.
That thing is ginormous. If you want something bigger.
That's science. Get you some science. Use your powers for good, not evil.
Hi, Candy Square. I'm good, Candy Square. Yeah, this is, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Well, she knew, right? I told her, I heard she got some pictures of the house next door. Van Tilly, right? Talking about Trinidad, man. How far back I had to I got they always buy me something on you.
Oh, but we're gonna have to turn this. We're making all that noise.
Yeah.
No. Who's that? So what I do is I buy those. I say, that's what I That's my first time seeing. Yeah, I just heard. Yeah. Right. Spread out here like we pray.
Party in the chair.
Like we spread out like we at home.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now 7:02 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the Highland Park City Council in-person and virtual city council meeting for Monday, August 7th, 2023 at 7 p.m. As far as opening ceremonies tonight, I think there's only one place that I need to go with this.
Can't hear.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get two microphones up here because I believe you when you tell me you can't hear me. How's that? Okay. There's only one thing that I think is appropriate for tonight's opening ceremonies. And that would be to take a moment to recognize the amazing life of one of our most dynamic members of the Highland Park community, Mr. Sam Wells. I will ask everyone in this room to please bow your head in silence as we observe and recognize the enormous contribution this man has made to our community and to our lives. You please bow your head in silence. Amen. Madam Deputy Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilman Ashafi,
Here.
Councilwoman Martin,
Here.
Councilwoman Manica,
Here.
Council Pro Tem Robinson,
Here.
Council President Thomas.
Here. On item 4, the approval, I'm sorry, item 3, the approval of the agenda. Council. We're on to item 3, the approval of the agenda. Chair would entertain a motion as it relates to today's agenda.
Council President, I have something I'd like to add to the agenda.
We have a motion to approve from Councilwoman Martin, seconded by Councilwoman Manica. Mr. Al-Shafi, you said you had something?
Yes, I have a resolution that I passed out to everybody. It is a resolution opting out of the previous marijuana ordinance passed by the Highland Park City Council on August 5th. I would like to have that item added to legal under C.
Ms. Al-Shafi, we're in August right now. At this point, to make that action happen, you would have had to make a motion to either accept the agenda or to amend the agenda. Has that document that you provided on the desk here, has that gone to the legal department?
It's been to the legal. I've sent it to everybody.
Has it been sent back to city council after legal review?
Council President, I have every right to add this
No,
item
sir, this
to
is
the
just a yes or
agenda.
no question. I'm
I
not
have
arguing it.
every right to add this to
Sir,
the
I'm not
agenda.
arguing it. I asked you a yes or no
Okay.
question. Has it been sent to the legal
It's been sent
department?
to legal. Whether they responded back or not is irrelevant.
Okay, you're making
It can
it,
still be
you're
added
making
to
this
the
more
agenda.
difficult. You're making this more, you can do whatever you want, sir, if you have support for it. Right now, we have a motion on the floor to approve the agenda from Councilwoman Martin that's been seconded by Councilwoman Manica. That's the item that's on the floor. That was a yes or no question. Has it been sent to legal? The follow-up to that, to the legal department is, has the legal department had a chance to review this document and provide it for the city for review?
That's up to the legal department. They
That
haven't
was not a
responded
question
back to
for
me.
you, sir. That was a question for them. You did give a yes or no answer. Did you have an opportunity to do so?
On behalf of the legal department, this is the first time that I'm seeing these documents. Now, I don't know where he sent them, but this is the first time that I am seeing these documents.
Please
So
make
I
a
have
note.
not reviewed.
Okay. Would you please, Madam Deputy Clerk, would you please make a note in the record that there is an item that is being raised by Councilman El Shafi? This resolution has not been sent to the city's legal department.
It has been sent to the city.
I'm
legal
sorry,
department.
sir. I rarely interrupt you. I would appreciate if you not interrupt me.
You interrupt all the time, Council
Okay,
President.
my job is to be the chair. So we need to make sure that that is in the record, that the item he's discussing, we have not had an opportunity to get legal review from it. We have a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Martin to approve the agenda. That has been seconded by Councilwoman Manica. Would you please take the roll, ma'am?
Councilman Ashafi?
No,
Councilwoman Martin?
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica?
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson?
No.
Council President Thomas?
Yes, motion carries. Point of order, Mr. Al Shafi, your agenda item could have been added. Could have been,
It could
listen,
have been
sir,
added right
sir,
now with no problem.
sir,
At
excuse
the
me.
start of this meeting,
Excuse me.
before the agenda was approved.
Mr. Al
this is
Shafi,
the time to act.
unless you want to be interrupted in perpetuity, I would appreciate you not interrupting me. I'll let you finish. As I said, whatever you want to do, you can. It's my job as the chair to make sure that the meeting is administered properly. I don't care what people do as long as it's done within Robert's Rules of Order. There was already a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Martin, supported by Councilwoman Manica. Had you wished to do so, you could have said, I want to approve the agenda pending an amendment.
And to get a speaker.
Sir, no, sir. This is August. This is August.
It's fine. Let's
This is
move
August.
forward.
Thank you very much.
Let's move forward.
The agenda hasn't been approved.
Move it forward.
On to the approval of the proposed minutes. The chair is open to entertain the approval of the in-person and virtual workshop that was on July 17, 2023.
I move to approve the proposed minutes for the in-person and virtual workshop meeting, July 17, 2023.
We have a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Manica to approve the workshop, the virtual workshop and in-person workshop for July 17, 2023. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Councilwoman Martin. Madam Deputy Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilman Ashafi?
No,
Councilwoman Martin?
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica?
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson?
Yes.
Council President Thomas?
Yes, motion carries. Next, under item 4, the approval of the proposed minutes, in-person and virtual regular meeting for July 17, 2023. Chair will entertain a motion on this action, on this item.
I move to approve the proposed minutes for the in-person and virtual regular meeting, July 17, 2023.
We have a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Manica to approve the in-person and virtual regular meeting for July 27, 2023. Do we have a second or support? Chair offers support. Madam Deputy Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilman Ashafi?
no,
Councilwoman Martin?
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica?
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson?
Yes.
Council President Thomas?
Yes, motion carries. This is the section of every meeting where we turn the floor over to the mayor of the city so that she can provide us with necessary updates and also share information from her office. Madam Mayor, thank you. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Stevenson, good evening. First, I want to thank the council president for initiating that moment of silence for Samuel Wells. I heard some people say, who is it? Let me tell you who he is.
It's hard to hear you.
Can't hear me?
In the mic. Okay, man.
Cut the fan off, y'all gonna be hot. Okay, this one moved. So I heard that someone asked who was Samuel Wells, and I just want to, give you a little background. Mr. Wells lived in Highland Park, grew up in Highland Park, went to Highland Park High School, graduated in the class of 91. After that, he would work for the federal government in the IRS and Homeland Security. And he also worked for the Social Security office. So most of you might have saw him in the Social Security office for years. But that's not why I'm up here. Sam Wells dedicated his life to young folks in the city. He started a basketball team with his own money, walked out, whatever he needed to do. They sold water. You might have saw the boys on Davidson selling water to go to their tournaments. Whatever it was, sacrificed a lot for these young men. And after the count yesterday, it's close to over 50 to 60 young men he has mentored and gave all of his time to. He passed away last week, and I don't want to say it has been easy, especially he's my friend, so it's been a rough week. But I just want everyone to know who he is so that you know what he did. And I appreciate that moment of silence. I'm not going to stand before you long. I want to go ahead and let you guys get to what's going on. This Wednesday at 4 and 5, please come to Dunkin' Donuts. I'm sorry, did I say 4? 10 and 5. Please come to Dunkin' Donuts. If you can't come in the morning, come in the afternoon. It is our coffee and conversation. This is when you get to come up there and just ask me what you want. If it's something that you need to ask, I'm sitting there for an hour from 10 a.m. to 11 and 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Usually it's about 10, 12 people show up. I really would like to have more. So come on out. We're holding conversations. Please come out and talk. Walk the city on Saturday. It's similar, but we're walking around the city, looking at things, asking questions, talking to the citizens about what they see, what they don't want to see, what they would want to see. And so those conversations are being had as we walk. Don't forget it, this month, you got Chat with the Chief. Our block clubs, we are growing by numbers. So we have a citywide block club organization, Highland Park Block Club Association, and citywide block club association. We meet on the last Thursday of the month at the fire station. Right now, we're starting to do our articles of incorporation so that it can become an organization where they can look for grants to help with block clubs. You still have your individual block club, but you have your president or your designee come to that meeting to bring back information. Let me see what else we got going on. I think that's it right now. Anything else comes up, we're on. Oh, that's it. Please sign up. If you are on Facebook or if you're on, you'd have a YouTube, go and sign up for the city's YouTube channel, subscribe. Go to Facebook, because you get a lot of information. Also, we put it out. Come downstairs in the front lobby. Everything that was on those flyers, there's a package of flyers, I see it's all gone, is right there. Everything that's happening that month. If you have a question, please call our PR person, Lakeisha Brown. You can email her. It's better to email lbrown@highlandparkmi.gov. That's it for right now. Questions, anybody? Okay, I'm gonna move on.
Ma'am. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm gonna go over some housekeeping again for citizens' participation. Today, I will be adhering to 2 minutes. What I found after I go back and I look at the meeting is that it is not possible to be consistent unless I use the timer on everybody. I want to make sure that people in the audience have an opportunity to speak, but I also want to make sure that they respect the outline instructions here. And you all see on the agenda that says the citizen may speak for no more than 2 minutes. I looked at other city council meetings, with City of Detroit in particular. They have a beautiful clock on the wall that lets you know when your time is up. They respect their time and your time. I'm going to try and do the same. So I'm going to hold it to 2 minutes. If you have not had an opportunity to look at the agenda, please do, other than the legal section, which is not up for discussion at the moment. We have under the administration, reappointments for Historic Commission, approving the implementation plan for the Detroit area on agency and community development. We have several property transactions. In the finance department, there's the accepting of a grant. The police department, we're improving our IT systems underwater. There's a resolution for the acceptance of a grant for 2 grants. So as we look at the agenda, those are the items that can be discussed in this section of citizens participation. If you have something specific to the agenda and you'd like to come forward and talk about it, this is the opportunity to do so. Otherwise, there'll be another section at the end of the meeting for citizens participation, up to 2 minutes on anything that you would like to discuss for this body. Do we have anyone that needs to come forward right now? Seeing no one? I'm sorry. I didn't see you moving. I turned my head. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening to the mayor, the administration, and also the council members. Thank you for this opportunity. I am going to speak to item number 6. And it is C, a resolution to sell vacant residential adjacent lot at 55 Avalon to the adjacent owner at 51 Avalon. I too have submitted an application for that. I have adjacent land right next to that lot as well. Please advise.
Thank you, ma'am. Do you have any other citizen that would like to speak on an agenda item? If you will please come up to the podium. Good evening, ma'am.
Hi, Lucy Fry at 45 Highland. I understand there was a workshop today and I came.
There was
to
not.
attend. And is there any reason why it was canceled?
The workshops are for business related to items that city council is informed or brought up to speed on from department heads, or items that the chair feels are relevant for discussion. At this point, we didn't have anything for that agenda. The workshop is a feature that was added to this process. It is not in the charter. And so we have them as needed. So in the future, I might make the decision to announce when I intend to have a workshop, but until further notice.
Okay. And on the Detroit area on aging administration, do we have any information on what is FY 2024?
That's fiscal year. Fiscal year.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. We have any other citizens that want to come up during citizen participation? Please step up to the podium, ma'am. You mind stating your name and your city of residence? I didn't ask those other people because I know them, they my neighbors, but.
Okay, Vanessa Brown.
Okay, your name's on me. Okay.
I'm at the resident of 75 Beersford.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Nice to meet you.
Okay. I would like to let them know I'm having a problem with when it rains, the sewage is coming up through the basement. I've had
Can I
it.
pause you? I'm gonna stop your timer.
Okay,
Is there an agenda item that this is related to?
agenda item?
Yes, this is the point in the meeting where we have people come up and speak to agenda items. Is there a specific agenda item on this agenda that I can point to? If not, I want you to come back during the general comment section so
Okay.
you can speak freely.
Okay,
Would that be acceptable?
yes.
Okay,
yes.
thank you so much,
Okay.
ma'am. Sorry for the misunderstanding. Again, these are for agenda items only.
Hi, my name is Jamil Edwards to the Honorable Board. I understand you said we're not going to discuss legal, but I just want a point of order. The closed session, is it for item B? Because it doesn't specify what the closed session is for.
It sure does not. It
So
is
that's
for-
why I wanted clarity.
Okay. It's for item B. Legal department, you have anything you want to chime in? It's
No,
just a
it's for
simple
item
yes
B.
or no.
It
Okay.
is for item B. That's just the way that is.
Yep,
set
that's just the
up,
way
but
it's
It is
done.
for item B. The closed session will.
Doesn't that go
involve item B.
against the sunshine law? That you can't go into closed session to talk about an ordinance to amend the Highland Park Administrative Code to to prohibit all forms of recreation marijuana establishments in Highland Park. Like you can go in a closed session because you're talking about a lawsuit, but that's not what was stated. That's why I asked for a point of order.
Okay, it's connected to the
You
lawsuit.
can't, you
and the
can't
order
ask for
that
a
went
point
out
of
to the
order,
city
ma'am.
council
You're not a
members.
member of the body.
Final
You asked
order
for
on the last lawsuit
clarification of the
that went
citizen.
out. It's connected to that.
Okay, just like you can't give your commentary during the meeting, then you do, and it's not about Robert Rules of Order either.
Okay. So my first act as city council president was to get the National Association of Parliamentarians in here to make sure, excuse me, ma'am, 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 excuse me. I typically get advice. I typically get advice from people who know more than I do. Right now, we having a conversation. My first request as city council president was to get someone from the National Association of Parliamentarians in this room so that, excuse me, ma'am, so that you would have an expert in the room. So far, I see none.
You're not.
Absolutely.
So why are you talking?
Absolutely, because I happen to be the chair of the meeting. Okay, ma'am, thank you so much. You have the podium.
Rosalind Martin.
How are you, Ms.
Dallas Manor.
Martin?
I see the water things on here.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
said there's some kind of grant program, but there's no monies allotted to it. So we on there for free? Because we definitely need money for water.
So this says a resolution to accept, for the acceptance of the state high water infrastructure grant program to the state of Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy by the city of Highland Park Engineering Department. My document doesn't have a dollar figure either. I'm sure the gentleman will expand upon that. I'm assuming he'll expand upon that when the time comes.
That was the thing. I want to know if there's gonna be some information.
Yeah, it's in our packet. There's more detailed information in our packet.
So
We just
on
don't
your-
disseminate.
In your
It's in-
package, there's a dollar amount.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you recall, a few months ago, we asked the council for approval for a $10 million loan. The state converted it to a grant. So it's that 10 million, that we're not gonna get in a grant form instead of a loan.
And that will go directly to the state.
No,
Yeah, that's kind of how it
it comes from the state
Right,
to the city, to fix the water main.
okay.
So that's what, we'll get to that on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you get your question answered sufficiently?
Yes, thank
Okay,
you.
my pleasure. We have any other citizens? Seeing no hands, we're gonna move into the next section of the agenda under legal. Item A is a closed session. In order to entertain a closed session, we need a motion on the floor.
I move to enter into closed session pursuant to MCL 15.2681H to discuss an attorney-client privilege memorandum that exempt from disclosure pursuant to MCL 15.2431G.
We have a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Manica to move into closed session. The explanation as to why we were in closed session was just articulated by the councilwoman. Do we have a second? Chair offers a second.
Why is that piece of paper in our packet?
I beg your pardon?
What she just read is not in my packet.
That's a motion based on Michigan law. You can pull it up on the internet. All you got to do is know what the code is.
So what are you reading there, Ms. Manica?
I'm reading my motion.
You can make a motion too, sir. All you got to do is go look it up under the Michigan Municipal Code. Okay. That. Madam Deputy Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilman Ashafi?
No.
Councilwoman Martin?
No.
Councilwoman Manica?
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson?
No.
Council President Thomas?
Yes. The item that came from the legal rendering is on hold. So members of the audience, when something happens in a courtroom under a privileged environment, it is completely inappropriate to come and discuss that in a public forum. That puts the city in jeopardy of censure and sanction. It is completely inappropriate to discuss these things in a public forum. So for whatever reason, I don't know what people's personal experience is, what their degrees and qualifications are that will make them want to, or whatever in-depth knowledge they have of Robert's Rule of Order, will make them want to do something that is prohibited and obstructive. Sir, when you get to be the chair, when you're the chair, you can run the meeting. When you're the chair, you can run the meeting. Okay, thank you so much. Excuse me, 1,420 people voted for me to be the president of the city council. And if that means I take, excuse me. And if that means I take an extra minute to explain to the people in the audience what's going on, that is my prerogative to do so. That is my prerogative to do so. That's why these people are here. That is why they're here. It's not about whether or not you're ignorant. Our jobs as elected officials are to provide you with information. And if this man has a problem who can talk for 30 minutes without breathing, if he has a problem with me taking an extra minute to explain to the people in the audience why our procedures are recurring, that's his problem. It's not mine. It's not my problem. Mr. Chubb, thank you very much.
Okay, so the motion failed, so we'll move on to the next item then.
Okay, then.
Okay, so the next item is the first reading of a marijuana establishment opt-out ordinance. In the matter of Robert Davis v. Highland Park, the court determined that the city's recreational marijuana ordinance was not, and I am going to have to greatly cut down.
Yeah, I know.
Provide regardless. So the court determined that because we did not send the ordinance to the planning commission, that it was enacted improperly and deemed it void. And so the court further directed us to return all applications and application fees, which we're going to be administratively overseeing. But in the meantime, the important thing is that marijuana can be legalized as recreational or medical. The way that the state law is written for medical marijuana is the city is automatically opted out. We don't have to do anything to be opted out, and it's presumed we are not participating. It is the opposite for recreational. And so when she deemed the ordinance void, we now have no ordinance pertaining to recreational marijuana, which means after the order becomes effective and the appeal times expire, and if they are not exercised, then we would be opted in with no setbacks, no limitations whatsoever from churches, no limitations as to the type and number of facilities that could be established within the city. It takes us completely out of control.
So what you're saying is that lawsuit injured the city in such a way that we have no ability to defend ourselves.
Well, the solution is this opt-out ordinance that's before the council tonight. My intention is that we would pass the opt-out ordinance, and if we subsequently want to entertain another ordinance which would be implemented in the proper fashion going through the planning commission, then that would ultimately render this void. But in this gap temporary area of time, we need to move forward to ensure we retain control and make sure that the implementation of marijuana is done so responsibly.
Okay.
And that's all this does. It's temporary in nature. I mean, the idea is that if council wants to move forward, or if there's a voter initiative to move forward that's subsequently passed, it would take this back. But in the meantime, and right now, this is the best way to act to protect the residents.
Mr. Al-Shafi.
Mr. Chubbs, I'm looking at this ordinance. Well, it's really not an ordinance. And I don't see why it was labeled an ordinance. It sounds more like a resolution to me. Okay, it doesn't sound like an ordinance.
That's just a misunderstanding. Well, let me answer that part because it's quite important. A resolution is ineffective to opt out under the Michigan Recreational Marijuana Taxation Act. So the ordinance that was circulated earlier would have no legal effect whatsoever. It must be done by ordinance, which is why this is an ordinance format.
Okay, so I noticed that it's just the recreational.
Correct.
Okay, so why isn't it both?
As I stated earlier, we are automatically opted out of medical marijuana under the state medical marijuana statute. It requires affirmative action by the council to opt in by way of resolution or ordinance.
Okay, well, I did a little bit of reading, and what I found that was interesting is we have a great deal of grow houses here in this city. Great deal of grow houses here in this city. And what I have noticed about these grow houses is they claim to be acting under the Caregivers Act, the state's Caregiver Act. And what was interesting to me after I read the Caregivers Act and I had a few discussions about it is that the Caregivers Act does not protect nor give credence to commercial and industrial. It only protects the residents in their homes if they choose to grow with their patients. It does not protect nor give license to commercial or industrial. Hold on a second.
Well, I want to make sure that we
Yeah.
address
Hold
each
up
piece of this.
1 second, Mr. Chubbs. So these people have been operating here for quite some time. No taxes have been paid. No revenue has been generated. Yet we seem to have them everywhere. In my district alone, I count 12. I count 12 in District 3 alone. I don't know every single one that's in District 2. I don't know every single one that's in District 1. But in District 3, I got 12 of them. Nobody's done anything about it. It's continued to be a problem. And every time I mention it, everybody in here acts like I've said something about their mother when I mention it. Nothing has been done up until this point. And the matter has gotten worse. The city has allowed it to fester. And now we got a serious problem here. And I feel like that the marijuana, this ordinance in which you're trying to put forward to the city now, it needs to include both medical and recreational, just to be on the safe side. I know that we say that the state says we automatically opt out. I'd rather be safe than sorry. I like to have that language in here. I don't want these grow houses to continue in our city, operating, bleeding our neighborhood and running it down.
Sure. Yeah, you're just misunderstanding a basic principle
Of the law.
of how this works. There's medical, there's recreational, and there's caregiver. Those are all under different acts. The grow houses that you're speaking of are under caregiver, and the city does not have the authority under state law to opt out. There is recent case law that says we can limit their proliferation through the use of zoning ordinances. And that's DeRuyter v. Byron Township, which was a fairly recent case. And so what some communities have done is prohibit them from operating in industrial and commercial buildings and limit it to residential, which was really the intent of the 2008 Caregiver Act. But in no way can we eliminate it completely. I would recommend that we do move forward with a zoning ordinance to limit their proliferation, because it's not only Highland Park, but communities around Metro Detroit that have those problems.
Mr. Chubbs, I know for a fact, and I personally got this information from the state, they have made it clear to us that they must have a license for commercial and industrial from the state. These people have no such license.
No,
they
that's
cannot
incorrect.
operate under the Caregivers Act the way that they operate right now. They are growing exponentially past the limits of what the Caregiver Act protects.
Well, first of all, that's wrong.
They're growing
But
past it.
secondly,
That's a fact.
no, but secondly, what we still need to move forward on is the ordinance that's before us tonight. This helps us ensure that recreational marijuana will not proliferate through the city, just like those caregivers you said are problematic. And so I really think that it's important, if you do have a concern about the caregivers, which are limited to 72 plants, that you move forward on this, because this absent this, organizations will be able to obtain licenses for plants up to 2,500. So if you're concerned about the 72 plant proliferation, imagine 2,500 plant grow facilities throughout the city. I think we're on the same page there. That's why I hope you vote yes on this.
Madam Pro Tem.
Yes. You stated, Attorney Chubbs, that the state automatically opts the city of Highland Park out of
Out of medical marijuana.
medical marijuana.
Correct.
So
That's opting out of jurisdiction. It doesn't opt out of the fact that it occurred.
asking the question to the attorney.
Sure, go ahead.
So you're only asking us to amend the ordinance for the recreational, which is city ordinance, right? Not the state's.
To opt out of the state recreational marijuana, you have to have a local ordinance stating that you are. So
why do
that's
we
what
have
this
a
does.
local ordinance to opt out of for the city to opt out of the medical.
Because it's unnecessary, because it's a matter of law, we're opted out unless we opt in.
That's what state. So if we're gonna change this ordinance for recreational, it should also be one for medical.
I can
think the
certainly
members-
bring one back at a future date, but it's completely unnecessary.
I think the members are missing the point that the attorney who happens to be an attorney of law
Yes.
is stating the law as he knows it. He's not making it up as he go. He didn't read an article. He didn't check a webpage. He's stating the law as he knows it as a practicing attorney with multiple years. He is acting as a resource to us and explaining us the way to move through it.
Okay, well, it's 3 names, so.
Excuse me?
Move on.
You said, whoa. What'd you say? It's 3 nays. How many votes do you have, ma'am?
It's 3 names. I wrote it down, 2 yays.
You got 3 nays or 2 yeas from who?
We voted on it.
Can we move forward?
Excuse me. When you administer the meeting, you can administer the meeting. I'm talking to Madam Pro Tem. You said we have 3 nays. We have not voted on item B yet. That was on a closed session. We have not voted on item B. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm hearing you correctly for the official record. Okay, so, Councilwoman Manica.
Good afternoon, good evening. I just want to make sure that we're clear. I want everybody to be clear. Right now, we need to vote on this ordinance for recreational, correct?
Correct.
That's absolutely correct.
Because medical, we're already opt out of that by the
It's
state,
state law.
That is correct.
okay? Then afterwards, we can address the situation of everybody who's already growing in our city under the Caregiver Act.
That's
And we
exactly
can
right.
do that hopefully by doing a zoning ordinance.
That's correct. It's only done by, the only regulation of the caregiver grows is by way of a zoning ordinance amendment, which would not be included in this ordinance.
So we can solve that problem based on the questions that she asked. The problems that Mr. Ashafi addressed, the ones he raised can be addressed. I see your hand, Ms. Martin, so you can rest your arm. They can be addressed by taking the steps that you just outlined.
That is correct.
Okay, so that means there is
Separate
something
and
that we
distinct
can
from
do about these burgeoning grow facilities of industrial nature over in District 3. So something can be done. Thank you so much for that, sir. Councilwoman Martin?
Yeah, you guys hear me?
No, not good.
Going now.
All right, can you hear me? Okay. Okay, so my first question is, has our water problem been solved?
Excuse me?
Has our water problem been solved?
So right now, madam, we're on legal item
No,
B.
it is. I'm sorry. Hold on. It is. Because I remember when I was discussing about, amending the marijuana ordinance, water was always brought up. And if it didn't have anything to do with marijuana then, it has nothing to do, if it has nothing to do with marijuana now, it had nothing to do with marijuana then.
Yeah.
And it was always said that what we need to worry about is the water, not marijuana. That's what I kept hearing over and over and over again. So my question is, why are we talking about marijuana at this present moment if we haven't solved the issue with water?
We just had a
Right,
legal ruling.
Hold on,
We just had a ruling. That's why
I'm
we're
not done.
discussing.
I
Okay.
get that.
Go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry. Forgive me for that. Forgive
So
me.
my next thing is, it was always said over and over again to the point where it's playing like a broken record, that if we don't have water, we can't do anything with marijuana.
So your question is,
Have we solved our water problem? If we haven't solved our water problem, why are we talking about marijuana at this present moment?
Mr. Chubb, can you back me up? Okay, the only reason that you're standing here today is because of Judge Hubbard's ruling. If it were not for Judge Hubbard's ruling, you'd probably be working on something else. Am I correct?
That is absolutely.
Okay, so there was a judge's ruling in the last 3 weeks that predicated putting this on the agenda. Judge Hubbard, based on all of the legal work that she's done, all of the cases that came from Highland Park through her courtroom. She finally threw the ordinance out. She had enough. Had she not done that, if they were still litigating, this wouldn't be on the agenda for today. So the only reason that we're here is because the judge made a ruling. Nothing in our immediate future changed. The judge made a ruling that forced us to have this item on the agenda. Ms. Square?
Yes, I just want some clarification about changing the zoning ordinance that would affect the caregivers. Does it shut them down? Do they get, so the zoning ordinance is changed, do they have to shut down?
No, all we can do through the zoning ordinance is reasonable regulation as to location. And so we could limit them. The most successful, the most successful versions of caregiver zoning limitations that I've seen limit them to residential zone facilities because it keeps them at a much smaller scale. As I was referencing, the most that a caregiver grow can have is 72 plants, which is 12 plants for the caregiver themselves and 5 patients that they may have. But the problem with it is that it allows co-location in the same facility of 50 caregivers. I mean, there really could be no limitation. And so we try to limit, but so it makes it a lot more difficult for them to co-locate and get these bigger facilities if you limit them to a residential use, because it's just, it doesn't have adequate, electricity, water supplies, other infrastructure. So that's been successful.
So the zoning change would shut down some of these big operators.
Yeah, that would be the intent. That would be the intent for sure.
Thank you very much for that, Madam Pro Tem.
Yes, at the beginning, when we discussed legal. At the beginning, when we discussed legal. It's not working. At the beginning, when we discussed legal, we asked was in the closed session, was A and B, was B in the closed session? And they said yes. And if we voted no on it, why are we in discussion?
No, the purpose of the closed session was to discuss this ordinance in a way that we could have.
Yeah, this is an abbreviated version. Trust me, this is not the full version.
About the tremendous limitation or potential liabilities arising out of this as a result of that ruling. Again, it seems that everyone on this council has concerns with unrestricted proliferation throughout the city, and this helps. This is extremely important for the residents and for the community.
Thank you, Attorney Chubb. Madam.
I do have a question.
Okay. Ms. Martin. So let me just say, Ms. Martin, I'm gonna allow your question.
My question's for you.
Yes, hold on a second. For any item, you can find this in the book. For any item that needs to be discussed, members have an opportunity to bring something to the table twice. This is not about twice. And on the discussion of any item, 2 times, happens in Congress, happens in the Senate. We don't have parliamentary support for those people who are wondering. So since we can't go by the book, I'm telling my peers on the council, go by the book. Yes, ma'am, you had a question.
Yeah, so earlier, my understanding, you were saying that the only reason why Tubbs is here is because that the ordinance was thrown out by the judge, correct?
That's why it's on the agenda. Yes, ma'am, to my understanding.
Okay. That's it.
Mr. Al-Shafi?
Mr. Chubbs, so I know you've been in California a while, so you haven't been here.
I've never been to California in my life.
Wherever you were, I know you haven't been here.
Okay.
So a while ago, before this got to this point, this body attempted to adjust and amend the ordinance in which we knew was messed up, done wrong. We tried to salvage that ordinance. The administration fought us at every turn. Everything we did got vetoed. Everything that we put out, she stumped on with no problem, with no hesitation. Even before the meeting was over, get the veto ready. That was her response. Now you come back here before us and you ask us to play ball with you and the administration on what they want specifically when we tried to help the city and save the ordinance so we wouldn't be at this point right now where we take the chance of being overrun by anybody and everybody who wants to do whatever the hell they want in the city of Highland Park. She spit right in our face. She spit right in our face. She stood against everything we tried to do from day one. Now you want us to play nice and approve this garbage you got before us. One sheet of paper, no information, no nothing about what the ordinance is going to be or what you had in mind for it. But now we have to play nice.
This
We
is to
should-
protect your residents.
I didn't
You
ask for a
took an oath of
response.
office
I
to
was just
protect your
telling you what's
residents.
going on.
Oh, but I'm gonna give
Okay,
you the
okay.
response because it's very
Right.
important
It's
because you
just, I
also,
understand how
you also
important it is.
referenced
I get that,
that
but we
you
wouldn't
wanted
have
to
came to
fix
this
the
point.
ordinance.
We
No, no, no,
wouldn't have
that's
came
so,
to this
So hold on a
point.
second.
that's
Mr. Chubb is
legally
not
wrong.
there
not
to
have
be
come to this
berated.
point.
He is not
I'm
standing there
here
to
being
be
berated by
berated.
him.
You are.
I'm just saying,
You
we
are.
wouldn't have came to this point, Mr. Chubbs, had the administration been willing to work with us from start, as opposed to
No.
taking us to where we are right now.
That's inaccurate because the determination of
How
the
the hell
court.
is that inaccurate?
I'm
Okay,
telling
so,
you, but you're
so,
interrupting me.
so,
I'm
excuse
telling
me,
you that's
excuse me,
inaccurate
excuse me. So let me
because-
wrestle back. Let me wrestle back control of my meeting, okay? I'm gonna do this soft. Let me wrestle back some control of my meeting. This is not an opportunity. This is not an opportunity for anybody on city council
I got
to berate an attorney. None of us are lawyers. Sir, unless you want to be interrupted every time you open your mouth, I would ask you,
Point of
I would
order.
ask you,
Point
I
of
would
order.
ask you to
Point of
please
order.
stop doing that. I'm the
Point
chair
of
of this
order.
body,
You
and my
say
job
you
is to
the chair,
administer the
yeah,
meeting.
but you don't dictate
Okay.
in this
Point of
council.
order
Okay,
here, please.
okay. Like I
is
said
a
before,
team
this is
effort.
not an opportunity for anyone to come to the podium and be berated. Hold on a second, Madam Mayor. Hold on just a second. Hold on just a second. Just a second. Ms. Burton, before you, I'm sorry. I don't disrespect. Ms. Burton had something that she wanted to add on the end of what Mr. Chubb said. And let me remind you all that these people are the lawyers. If you're a lawyer, please raise your hand. Ms. Fry, please. I would never come to your establishment and talk over you while you was administering a meeting. Okay? No. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. We're not going, this is the reason why you needed to have a parliamentarian here, because this is the type of foolishness to wrestle the meeting out of control. Okay? Okay? So you made a statement in response to what the gentleman was saying. Ms. Burton, did you have something to add on? And I would like to turn the floor over to you, Ms. Mary. This is your staff. I just want to make sure that we have some semblance of reasonable behavior in this room. Ms. Burton, please. Ms. Burton?
I thought the mayor was gonna go. Okay, Councilman Ashafi.
Yes, ma'am.
The information that was submitted was incorrect. There were pages missing. There were certain sections that was missing.
Okay, yeah, let's make sure. But what'd you say again, Ms. Burton? Would you repeat that again?
There were pages missing.
Pages missing.
There were certain sections of that proposed amended ordinance that was missing. Some of the information within it was inaccurate.
Again, Ms. Burton, it goes back. to
Sir,
the fact that we
please,
asked
sir,
you to work
please,
with us.
sir, please.
We
Point
asked
of
you to
order,
work
point of
with
order. I
us.
want to hear what she has to say.
No, what was done was you tried to ram it down
No, we
our
didn't.
throats without giving legal and adequate
didn't.
opportunity.
No, we
Excuse me, I am talking.
She's talking as well.
Excuse me, I'm trying to answer your questions. I'm not gonna go with that back and forth. I'm gonna tell you how it is, because look, I was here when you weren't in 2018, when they were trying to put the marijuana ordinance together. So let me tell you what ended up happening. You were subject to be in the same position that landed us in hot water in the first place.
Thank you.
Is when the community did not have an opportunity to voice their opinions relating to the ordinance. That was the problem. And it did not go to planning. Legal objected then, and it had not gone to planning in terms of you bringing some amended ordinances or some amended provisions of the ordinance. It wasn't even a complete ordinance. Had you attempted to work with us instead of allowing other people to dictate to you what should take place, the legal department was always open to working with you. Mr. Chubb also said he would have a study session, which is a workshop, to try to work out something, but you wanted to push it through. That was not the proper procedure. It didn't adhere to the charter. That was why it was rejected. That's why the mayor ended up vetoing it. It wasn't because, she didn't want marijuana here.
It was
had to
against
be
the law.
correct.
It was against the law.
It was not
against the
legally
law.
set forth properly. It wasn't set forth properly.
Madam Mayor, forgive me for delaying you. I just wanted to make sure that I knew the point she was gonna make. I wanted to make sure she got it out.
And I'm glad she was able to, because this time that this all comes to pass. vetoing the actions protected you. It protected you. Because if I had not vetoed the action, that was illegal. A ordinance was written at home, not in front of the body, not with the body,
Certainly not with me.
was not reviewed by lawyers, was not presented to planning before it even came for a vote. That's exactly what happened the last time, that it did not go to planning. Ms. Martin brought the ordinance to the council, asked to have it voted on, asked to go through a hearing. None of that went in the order that it's supposed to go in. And if I do not veto it, we will have more lawsuits than we have now.
Thank you.
And so if I allow you to have these lawsuits, or I allow them to create lawsuits, guess who pay for them sometimes?
We do.
Exactly. So my job is to protect you. It's not to argue with him. It's not to debate with anybody else. My job is to veto any action that is illegal, and that was illegal. It did not go before the council. You sent it to them in an email, which is not legal. It's not. And then you wanted it to be reviewed. It was not presented to all 5 council members. And when it was in an email, which is illegal. So as long as you continue to do the illegal actions, I will veto it. And I have that right to do so.
As you should.
Because I have to protect the community. Now, whatever else, however you do it, if you do it legally, which is the process, I don't have a problem with it. But as long as you continue to do it illegal, yes, I will veto it. And Robert Davis can take me to court 15,000 times, I will still veto it.
So the question that I have is, why is this city so invested in a marijuana ordinance that's not being pushed by somebody in town? Why are we spending so much of our time? Why are we spending almost $1 million fighting lawsuits from somebody that doesn't even live here? Why are we doing that? Why are we so vested in marijuana? Highland Park was the city of trees. We're talking about pine trees, elm trees, oak trees. It was not the city of marijuana trees. Why has our city since January been so focused on marijuana? Who's pushing it?
Can we get to the vote?
When you get to be chair, you could do whatever you want.
Ms. Martin has a question.
Ms. Martin.
Call for the vote, call for questions.
Ms. Martin, and this is it. After Ms. Martin, we're done with this.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't pretend to know everything or the process or the procedure and everything like that. But that's why before we even got to this point, I did ask, what is the procedure? What needs to be taken out? What's missing? I did make calls to the proper people to ask that question before we even went to the process of the special meeting. And I was told to worry about water.
She did call on a Saturday.
She just said that we do not.
Mr., this is the exchange between these 2 ladies over here.
She did call on a Saturday. I told you, you cannot write an ordinance at home behind closed doors, because that is considered a violation of the Open Meetings Act. You have to be with your colleagues and write that ordinance. They have to say, I told you that.
Right.
And you brought it in anyway. You brought it in.
Right.
And you passed it to the council without it being in a workshop, without it being looked at as legal, without all of that going through, and you all voted to try to have this ordinance done. That is illegal. And my job is to protect this city.
Right. But at the end of that conversation, I said, let's sit down, let's talk. Especially since you've been on city council before. I'm new to this. Can you give me can we sit down and just take a look at it and see what's missing, what needs to take it out, what you approve, what you don't? And then at the end of that conversation, you were like, that's not what you do. Right. But it's not that you, go ahead.
I am not the council. Right.
I get that.
I do not write ordinances.
Right, I get that.
And look at that ordinance and tell you what's missing, what's in there, what shouldn't be in there, because that is not my purview. As the mayor, it is not my purview. As the council, when I was on there, yes, it was. That goes to legal. And legal was supposed to review everything, sit down, with you, go over all of these things, but it wasn't sent to them legally. It was.
Right.
sent to them an email.
But what was that procedure? Because that seemed to be, it seemed to be hard just to get answers on what the procedure is and how to even go about doing that.
That would have been your counsel,
Mhm.
your counsel. You were supposed to sit down with all of them.
One-on-one.
No, in an open meeting. In an open meeting. You could have brought that up in an open meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to the vote now. We're on legal, B. Madam Deputy Clerk, would you please call the roll? This is the ordinance to amend the Highland Park Administrative Code to prohibit all forms of recreational marijuana establishments in the city of Highland Park.
Councilman Ashafi?
Please. This is open for council's action.
I move to approve the ordinance for marijuana establishment, an ordinance to amend the Highland Park Administrative Code by adding chapter,
Wait a minute.
adding a
Ms.
chapter.
Manica, we're already on the vote.
No, we're on B. I need,
That
I
is
missed
it.
that. I didn't
No.
wait for anybody to.
no. This is open right now. So this is open for what council wants to do. I need you to make a motion on item B or not make a motion on item B. Closed session was not approved.
Right.
So here's what we have. An ordinance to amend the Highland Park Administrative Code by adding chapter, which we will add, to prohibit all forms of recreational marijuana. It's based on the current list of chapters. If there are 9, this will be chapter 10. State law reference, Michigan Regulation and Taxation of Marijuana Act, MCL 333.27951. Now therefore, the city of Highland Park ordains, this ordinance shall be known and cited as the City of Highland Park Marijuana Establishment Ordinance. That's section 1. Section 2, marijuana established. As permitted in section 6.1 of the Michigan Regulation and Taxation of Marijuana Act, the city hereby completely prohibits any marijuana establishment as defined in the act from locating and operating within the boundaries of the city. Chair is open to a motion on this ordinance.
I move to approve.
We have a motion on the floor to approve the ordinance
Ordinance for
from Councilwoman Manica. Do we have
marijuana
support?
Establishment.
So, hold on a second. So the legal department has let us know for the framework, the legal framework, this will have to be considered a first reading. This has to be considered a first reading. We just can't, just like we told you, you couldn't bring an ordinance to us
How
and we
was this
signed it on the
considered a
first
first
day.
reading?
It's the law. It's the law. It's the law. This page will be added to the current ordinance prohibiting all marijuana facilities for recreational purposes.
Where's the ordinance itself?
So we only needed one page? We only needed one page. Yeah, that doesn't. make sense.
That's funny. You only need one page. No, this is it says an ordinance to amend the Highland Park Administrative Code by adding a chapter.
No, that doesn't make sense. This is it. This is considered a first reading.
All right.
So if we had
That's the
been
beauty
in
of bringing your
closed
computer to the
session,
meeting.
we could have discussed this.
Exactly. Jesus.
Everything's not meant for out here. It is a legal situation.
Everybody wants to be an
sometimes
expert.
We need to put everything
Nobody
else
wants to do the work.
aside and do what we're supposed to do.
We still have a water issue.
Legally, water has anything to do with this.
Now we-
This is a legal
one.
issue
Section two.
that took place, lawsuit
Section
that
three.
happened,
Section
and
4.
you have to address that.
It was legal
There is
before, right?
support.
No,
There is support.
understand what I'm saying to you. And this,
That was a
again,
dilatory
could
motion. She
have
couldn't
been
finish that motion.
discussed where
Without
it
it being
should
done
be
properly.
discussed. But instead, for whatever reason, we want to do it in front of everybody.
I would have said. the same
Especially
thing.
when we don't always know everything, some things should be
Section
discussed where
15.
we can have those simple conversations. But here we are. So we had a lawsuit. So both are legal, but we had a lawsuit. There was a ruling. It brought us here. If it had not happened, we would
We would not
be
be
still
here.
saying we need water
Right.
for marijuana. But again, something happened. There was a lawsuit. It was ruled on. Now we have to go back and do what is said, what is deemed, what the judge said that we need to do. But we didn't have this discussion, and the lawyer, Mr. Chubbs, I'm sorry, could not really explain it to
You could
you
not explain. the
or
full
anyone
parameters
else,
of it.
being the five of us,
Right.
because we are out here.
Right.
It's privileged information, ladies and gentlemen. No one would discuss your personal legal business in an open forum.
Right.
That's why they call it privileged information.
So sometimes.
So you only got a Cliff Note version. Forgive me, I'm sorry. You only got a Cliff Note version of everything attached to this. And how we spend an hour on weed again in this council chamber. When you're chair, you can run the meeting.
It's a motion already on the floor.
The motion is dilatory because there's a requirement by law. I'm not gonna hold you to a standard that I won't hold somebody else to. By law, you have to have a first and second reading, even if it's something as simple as this. I'm not gonna let this go by when I didn't allow it to go by for you. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Not those, I always say this when it's a legal matter. All the lawyers raise your hand, circle up.
So my thing is, do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Because we still have a water issue.
Okay,
No.
water
Ma'am.
has.
I would have said the same
absolutely
thing in a closed meeting. I would have said the same
Okay.
thing about water.
So here we are. I'm saying to you, water, yes, is very important. It's on the
Even
top
you
of
said the
my
same
list.
thing.
I just said, I'm saying on the top of my list. But in this case, we are handling a legal matter that was brought in a lawsuit. What you guys were trying to handle was not in a lawsuit that has said, so let's pretend. We go to a lawsuit, the lawsuit happens, the judge says, you gotta remove 15 people. And you also gotta add 25 other things. We have to go and discuss what we need to do, but we don't discuss it in front of everybody because it would be, then we would be held in contempt.
We
I'm
will
gonna call it
be
contempt.
sharing
I don't
privileged
know.
information. That's what we will be doing, ma'am.
But right now, we're trying to handle, somebody brought a lawsuit against us.
Exactly.
It was already ruled on. And then there was instructions given in that ruling by the judge that we need to now do something. But normally, we discuss it in a closed session, anything that's legal.
We never discuss legal matters
I'm
in an
sorry.
open forum. We never
Any
discuss
court
legal
case.
matters in an open forum. No government does. No government anywhere. When they have these type of cases, do they discuss it in an open forum?
So now I'm saying to all five of us, including myself, we need to we gotta quit being personal. I don't care if the mayor didn't like it. I don't care if Jamal didn't like it. I didn't like right now.
I don't care.
On the table, Robertson, Martin, Kashif, Manica is this right here. And we keep prolonging things and we just keep adding things and we just keep getting lawsuits and sued. So here we are, that we can't make a decision because the paper is only one page.
It's
Some
not
things
personal.
Don't have to be one
It's
page. or
personal. It's
15
not
pages.
personal.
I'm not speaking
don't-
of you.
Okay,
I'm
so-
speaking in general.
At this point, we've had discussion, we've deliberated over an hour on this thing. The chair will entertain either a motion to table or a motion to approve. Legally, since it's an ordinance change, it has to have a first and second reading. This last hour definitely counts as a first reading. And all the legal experts, leave me your business cards after the meeting.
This already went to legal.
Yes, that came from.
Okay, so what
I
are we
make a
doing?
motion to read the first reading of this marijuana ordinance. City of Highland Park ordinance will have a number, marijuana establishment ordinance. An ordinance to amend the Highland Park Administrative Code by adding chapter
It'll be chapter 15. There are 14 sections so far. This will be
15.
chapter 15.
to prohibit all forms of recreational marijuana establishments within the city of Highland Park. State law reference, Michigan Regulation and Taxation of Marijuana Act, MCL 333.27951 ETSEQ. I don't know what all that is. Now, therefore, the city of Highland Park ordains. Section 1, title. This ordinance shall be known and cited as the City of Highland Park Marijuana Establishments Ordinance. Section 2, marijuana establishments. As permitted in Section 6.1 of the Michigan Regulation and Taxation of Marijuana Act, the city hereby completely prohibits any marijuana establishments as defined in the act from locating and operating within the boundaries of the city, passed and adopted, etc. If we
So we
pass
have a
or
motion
adopt.
on the floor from Councilwoman Manica. Do we have support? The chair offers support. Madam Deputy Clerk, would you call the roll? Item B.
This is for the first reading.
Councilman Ashafi,
I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, as long as I'm sitting on this council, this will be a long time before this comes back. Yes. Long time before it comes back.
Councilwoman Martin,
No.
Councilwoman Manica,
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson,
No.
Council President Thomas.
Yes, to ban all recreational marijuana facilities. In this first reading, hopefully in the second reading, we'll get the same. Thank you very much. Motion carries. On to item 5 under the administration. It's a resolution to reappoint Annie Zobel and Jeffrey Harris to the Historic Commission. Mr. Harris, Mr. Zobel, are you here? Mr. Harris here? I see you there, Ms. Zobel. How you doing? You throw your hands up? Okay, members of council, how are we gonna handle item 5A?
Are you allowing them any opportunity to?
Once we get a motion on the floor, sure.
Okay. Resolution to, I'm sorry, my fault, guys. I move to approve the resolution to reappoint Annie Zobel and Jeffrey Harris to the Historical Commission.
We have a motion on the floor for item 5A, the reappointment of Annie Zobel and Jeffrey Harris to the Historic Commission. This motion is made by Councilwoman Manica. Do we have support? Chair offers support. Ms. Zobel, Mr. Harris, would you mind? This resolution is about your reappointment to the Historic Commission. Council, do you have any questions for these two representatives of the Historic Commission? Any questions at all? Anything related to?
I've got a question.
Please, go ahead, Ms. Martin.
Yes, hello, great evening. The only question I have is, I know before when I initially met you guys, it was about the library. What's the status on that?
Just now, please answer her question. Well, just remember, we have to stick to the subject. Please answer her question, would you?
Very briefly, we did apply for a grant through the State Historic Preservation Office. It was not awarded, so we will reapply next year.
Thank you.
Thank you for answering those questions. Do we have any additional questions by members of council, Ms. Manica?
The historical area that you are to maintain or cover, what is that? The library is not in that area, is it?
It's limited to the Ford campus on Woodward, Manchester.
Okay. Is that the only area?
That's the only local district that we have jurisdiction.
So you have jurisdiction in others? Just this one, right? Correct? And so that would be on Woodward or would it include the part that's on Manchester as well?
The entire complex.
The entire
going to Oakland, the Viaduct, Manchester, Woodward.
I no longer have any questions.
Any additional questions? Any other council members? We have a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Manica, supported by the chair. Madam Deputy Clerk, would you please take the roll on approval of this resolution 5A?
Councilman Ashafi,
No.
Council Member Martin,
No.
Council Member Manica,
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson,
No.
Council President Thomas.
Yes. Thank you for your service. I don't know what, before you walk away from this podium, I would just like to thank you both. There probably wouldn't be a historic commission without your work. It's like a plane flying through the air and somebody snatching the train pilots out. I don't know what we're gonna do next without you. Hopefully the people on your team can fill in those shoes, but I want to thank you for your commitment to this work. That term ends when?
Their term expired.
It's expired now. Expired.
Okay, so I don't know if there is a transition process, turning over the additional material that you need to the people who are doing the work. I do have a list of the other people on the Historic Commission. I'm at a loss at this point to have the people that were doing the work removed, but this is politics, I mean.
Question.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Is the mayor still here?
The mayor left the meeting. The mayor went back to her office.
Is that appointment by the mayor?
Yes.
That's a mayoral appointment.
Thank you.
Okay.
Politics.
I don't know what we doing here. Okay, under item 5, the resolution reviewing and approving the Detroit area on agency proposal for the fiscal year 2024, the annual implementation plan. Council, how do we dispose of item B?
Approve with questions.
I second with questions.
We have a motion on the floor from Councilman Ashafi with questions, seconded by Councilwoman Robinson. Go right ahead with those questions.
Council President, under the 4th, whereas it says the plan will be funded for a 1-year period based on the availability of federal and state funds. This plan does not request or need funding from the city of Highland Park. But in that same breath, in the 5th whereas, it says this plan does request and needs funding from the city of Highland Park. Can you make that make sense?
That was a typo. This is my first resolution.
Okay.
So my name is Bernadette Hudgens, and I'm the senior coordinator. And when I was cutting and pasting, I made a mistake.
Okay.
So that's exact. So if you all would give me a few minutes, I can tell you a little bit about what this is.
Okay, so there's no funding?
No funding,
Okay.
because this is all federal work that is done by the Detroit Area Agency on Aging, and they have to create a plan on how they plan on using the money that's been given to them from the federal government and the local area. So that's what that is, and they are asking every community that is impacted by that plan to review it and make sure you approve that you've read it.
I understand the plan.
Madam Pro Tem, go ahead.
And I welcome it. And that was just only my concern too. I figured it was a typo, but we had to make it known.
Absolutely. As I was going back through it, I was like, oh no. I'm like, I cut and paste it, so I apologize.
Okay.
That won't happen again.
Motion to approve. The DAAA is a great agency.
Do we have any additional questions or concerns on item 5B?
We probably should amend that with the corrected
Yes.
version.
Thank you, Attorney Burton.
Well, Ms. Manager.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Any other questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Can you, I'm not sure if it was Mr. Shafi or not. Did you make the motion to approve it with questions?
Yes.
You did.
Yes, I did.
Can you rescind it or add for the amendment?
For clarification of the verbiage you pointed out.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Ms. Martin. Can you take back your second for me?
This was,
Oh, I'm
this, no, this
sorry,
is, it's Ms. Robinson. It's Mr. Shafi and Ms. Robinson.
Thank you.
Okay, okay.
All you have to do is amend that.
Right. So I approve this,
You're making a motion to approve.
right, I make a motion to approve, this resolution with the proper amendments at the, on the last line.
With the correction of the verbiage, we have a motion on the floor
I
to
second.
approve for item 5B with the corrections of the verbiage and the resolution as written to reflect the appropriate procedure for funding. It's been seconded by Councilwoman Robinson. Can we take a vote on that, please, Madam Deputy Clerk?
Councilman Ashafi,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin,
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica,
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson,
Yes.
Council President Thomas.
Yes. Moving on to item 6 under community development.
I make a motion to approve the resolution to submit application for My Hope Grant Round 4.
I have a motion on the floor
Second.
from Council Pro Tim Robinson, second by Councilman El Shafi. Any questions or discussion? Madam Deputy Clerk, would you call the roll on item A under community development?
Councilman Ashafi,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin,
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica,
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson,
Yes.
Council President Thomas.
Yes, motion carries.
I do have one quick question. It has nothing to do. People, so does that mean, Mr. Hinton, they can come now? I mean, people can come and apply for this 4th round? Okay, thank you.
Okay, under community development, item B, the resolution to use Title Check LLC auction services to sell city-owned properties. City Council, how we dispose of this?
Move with questions.
We have a motion to approve the resolution to use Title Check LLC auction services to sell city-owned properties with question by Councilmember Ashafi. Do we have support?
Second.
Have second from Councilwoman Manica. The floor is open for questions.
Council President, is there somebody that can speak to this? Who this company is? I looked them up online. I'm not finding anything. I understand that they're based out of Kalamazoo. I know there are a lot more reputable auction houses that could be used to sell property to the residents. I'm not finding anything on this particular company.
Pending litigation that we have right now, I get your point, but it would be appropriate not to say more reputable than that. That's a disparaging remark.
Well,
And we don't want any more lawsuits for.
Well, I take that back, but I'm
Fifth
pretty
Amendment.
sure that there's got to be some information somewhere about this individual company.
Well, I can give you
Mr.
some.
Hinton, if you would, we have a motion on the floor for approval right now. Your clarification can get us where we need to go.
I called the treasurer himself to get a recommendation, and he referred these folk. They handle the Wayne County auction, and they handle 12 other auctions. They're a very professional group. They make their money off the 10% they charge to the winning bidder. I don't know how much more I can say, but they do good work all over the state.
Okay, Mr. Hinton, it took me all of 2 seconds to find Title Check LLC. They have a beautiful website with several full tabs. They even have a career page that's heavily populated. So there's a ton of information out about this company that someone could find about where they are, what they're located, where they're located, what their services are. Any citizen in the audience could go to titlecheck.com. They have a .com website, which lets you know that they're getting a significant amount of traffic. There's a lot of information there. On the Contact Us page, it gives their address, gives a map, not only gives a phone number for auctions, but it also has a fax and a phone number, plus a support desk, email address for information. There's a lot here. So thank you so much for that, sir. So we have a motion on the floor. I'm sorry,
Mr. Hinton, you said you called the treasurer. You talking about the Wayne County treasurer?
Oh, yes, Eric Sabree, to get his recommendation, and I did not regret his recommendation.
So this is the recommendation based on our county treasurer, Eric Sabree.
Right.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Al-Shafi.
Mr. Hinton, I got one more question for you, if that's not too much about it. Okay, so a few months back, I asked you for an itemized list of city-owned properties. I tell you what you did give me, but it wasn't to a full scope. I specifically asked you for what the city owns and what has been sold in the last 6 months, who it was sold to, and what we sold those properties for. I have yet to receive that itemized list.
Okay, the only properties that we could sell would be commercial buildings, commercial lots, and residential lots. I will try to get a summary of all those transactions. We have not, because charter prohibits us from selling any homes. We have to auction them.
Okay.
I think that information was conveyed to us via email and verbally by the mayor as well. All those requests for anything related to
No.
Community Economic Development, those requests are supposed to go through the mayor's office to ask her employees to provide us with any assistance. I think she made that clear. I do thank you so much,
Yeah, we
Mr.
never
Henry.
received that, Council.
Okay, so Madam Deputy Clerk, on item B under Community Development, would you go ahead and take the roll on that item, please?
Council President, I withdraw my support, my motion to approve.
Okay, so the motion falls. We have, Ms. Manica, you were the person that supported that. So for item B, Community Development, a resolution to use Title Check LLC Auction Services to sell city-owned properties. The floor is open for a member of council to make a motion on this action. He withdrew his support.
I'm withdrawing my support because of the withdrawal of the motion.
Okay, so now the floor is open to make a motion.
So before I make this motion, I just want to be clear. We are voting on a resolution to use Title Check LLC Auction Services to sell the city-owned properties
For us, yes, ma'am.
for us. This company was given to us as a reference from the Wayne County Treasurer. right, Ms.
Himself.
Robinson? That's what he said. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I understand the need for knowing what we have in our quantity, but that will be done, I think, after the fact and with that new planning, or not planning.
This
Ms.
is for the-
Square want to say something.
It's for the auction, it's not.
This is for home.
We can't hear in the back.
City-owned homes. Charter says it's not city property. This is not city property, all the city property out here. This is houses. So if the city owns a house, the charter says that the house has to be auctioned. So this service will be to auction those houses. Houses owned, not other property that's, the charter also talks about whether it's, city-owned property, public property, or whether it's over a certain dollar amount. Then it falls into all the other classifications that go into the voters and all this. So this is for houses. City-owned houses in the arsenal of property that the city owns.
So I make a motion to approve the resolution to use Title Check LLC Auction Services to sell city-owned houses under the properties.
So we have a
Per the
motion on the
charter.
floor by Councilwoman Manica for under Community Development for item B. Do we have support?
Support.
We have support from Councilwoman Martin. Madam Deputy Clerk, would you please call the roll on item B?
Councilman Ashafi,
No.
Councilwoman Martin,
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica,
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson,
I'm going to vote no because this should have been in a workshop.
Council President Thomas.
Yes, thank you so much. We're going to move on to item C under Community Development. This is a resolution to sell the vacant residential adjacent lot at 55 Avalon to the adjacent property owner at 51 Avalon. City Council, is the applicant in the building? Just put your hand up. You can sit down. Just put your hand up. Okay. City Council, how are we going to dispose of item C? Ms. Manica?
Oh.
So you're making we taking.
I'm not making a motion. I'm making a point on this particular item.
But we have to, okay.
Okay.
We'll try
so
to get in it. What is the point? Is it related to
It's
the
related to the-
structure of the paperwork, or tell me?
It's related to the charter.
Okay, then that's
We
a
have two
point of order.
people who have applied
Yes, ma'am.
for the same property. And so we can't vote. I mean, I don't think we can vote on it. It's something
So-
they have to do first.
Yes, ma'am.
Before we can
So-
even vote on this.
Absolutely. So let me go here under the sale of vacant lots, the ordinance. So that will mean this item will be tabled. If we're not going to take action on it today.
Who applied first?
We don't know. We need to wait for applications.
So
Yeah.
applying first, who was the first property owner? The goal here with these vacant lots is that the person next door has the first right of refusal, especially
Right.
the person who was already there, whoever that person was. We get them the first right of refusal.
Right.
That means we have the applicants share with us, hey, did you check with the person next door to see if they wanted the lot too? Is there an issue where the lot can be split?
Okay.
Okay, so that's what pretty much where we are. And based on what Ms. Manica says, there is an application by two parties on both party on either side. We heard this evening from Ms. Harris that she has owned her property for an extended period of time, and she was also interested in taking ownership of that property. So that creates a conundrum for us.
Okay.
We can't hear you. Mike.
Okay.
I move that we table
I second.
the resolution to sell the vacant residential adjacent lot at 55 Avalon to the adjacent property owner at 51 Avalon.
So under community development, letter C, we have a request from Councilwoman Manica to table the resolution to sell the vacant adjacent lot at 55 Avalon to the adjacent property owner at 51 Avalon.
I second.
It's been supported by Councilwoman Martin. I don't see any hands waving. Let's take a vote on item C.
Council President,
This is item D.
I'm sorry, this is item C.
No.
This is the resolution to sell the vacant residential adjacent lot at 55. We're talking about 55 Avalon. That's item C.
Yeah, I see it.
D
as
is
C.
the C, okay?
Yeah, C.
C,
okay.
okay?
Council President.
Yes.
Table to what?
Well, at this point, that's a question that we would have to, Community and Economic Development needs to look at these two applications and find out if there's been any communication between those two property owners. We're gonna have to table this at least to the next meeting. At least to the next meeting. Thank you, sir. So we'll be tabling it to the August 17th meeting. Will you take the roll on tabling item C?
I didn't hear a motion for that, Council.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Manica, seconded by Councilwoman Martin.
Okay,
Councilman Ashafi,
no.
Councilwoman Martin,
To table?
To table.
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica,
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson,
Yes.
Council President Thomas.
Yes, to table. Item C has been tabled. As for those applicants, I think what will be appropriate is you connect with CED and you have a conversation with the adjacent property owner to see how we move forward. It's going to be necessary that you have communication with the adjacent property owner.
I'm reading what it said, right.
So we're moving on to Community Economic Development. This is item D, resolution to sell the vacant residential adjacent lot at 44 Candler to the adjacent owner at 40 Candler. One second here. The applicant for 40 Candler is where?
It's the same person as the person from, that we just were talking to, the gentleman. You're his son, right?
Two sons.
Two sons. The owner lives in California and the son, the first son with the glasses, I don't know your name, he was here last time. So it's the same situation. We just had that same one. Here, it died for lack of support.
That was a 40 Candler last time?
Yes.
Okay. Let me deviate. Mr. Hinton.
Or is that a different place? No, it looks like-
If you recall, last time, he came up during the question and answer session from the residents
Mhm.
and stated that this particular property they own, and he's asking for the lot next door so that he can add it to their property.
Okay.
He has several properties in the city like that. This is just one of them.
Okay.
So I stand corrected. So it looks like he's in the middle. Am I correct? There's a house in the middle of these two because one says 48 and one says 44.
Yeah.
No. So what we doing?
Let me look on Regrid right quick, just to see what the, how the parcels come up.
Does anybody else see that? Where?
You're gonna have to go to a advanced parcel map. I use Regrid, so you can go there and you can see the actual parcel numbers.
You said Regrid you use?
Regrid is it's a website that developers use all the time. You're not familiar with it, it'll give you parcel information for properties in the city. Okay, so their application is. $44.
So we're just waiting for a motion.
We making sure that we get this thing right. We are waiting for a motion, but I'm making sure that I check The actual,
Can I have a point of clarification? Is
ma'am.
it all right if he comes up? Because
So,
he's shaking
well,
his head, no.
Well, we don't have a motion on the floor.
Okay.
So right now, we're doing housekeeping here, which is what every city council should do. We're looking at the parcels, the property. We're looking at, is there somebody next door? We're doing all the things that we're supposed to do as council members to look out for our constituents and to protect the interests of the city. So do we have a
Anybody
motion?
got it up yet? What does yours say? Mine says the resident is 40 cameras. And the one we did last week said he wanted 48 cameras. This one says he wants 44 cameras. So why are we bringing up 48?
So listen, it says it's a vacant lot
Are you guys discussing?
at 44 No, we're making sure that we get these parcels correct before we go move any forward. 44 Candler. The adjacent property owner at 40 Candler. These are two vacant lots, correct?
Council President, I shall return. I got used to that.
44 and 48 are vacant lots, correct?
So 44, I'm looking at 44. I'm looking at 48 right now. And I'm looking at 44. On regrid, they didn't show a structure. So which property?
40 is the house, the house.
So you own 40. And you're trying to purchase the two lots. So I'm looking at this resolution and it says a resolution to sell the vacant adjacent lot at 44 to you, that is west of you, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Can everybody use your phone or whatever to pull up the software to make sure that we know what we're talking about? I want to make sure no one has any questions as to where this actual property is before we entertain this motion.
Tell me, what is it? Again,
There is a house at 40 Candler.
no, what was the software?
It's regrid. It'll give you the parcel numbers and everything. And if regrid, just use Google Maps, just so that you can eyeball it.
You know what? I'm not looking for that.
Okay, members, here we are again, Community and Economic Development, item D, the resolution to sell the vacant residential adjacent lot at 44 Candler to the adjacent property owner at 40 Candler. The information here says the property is owned by the company listed on the sheet. They are in fact the owners of the property. So it's up to council how we proceed on this item.
I make a motion to approve the resolution to sell the vacant residential adjacent lot at 44 Candler to the adjacent property owner at 40 Candler.
We have a motion on the floor from Council Pro Tem Robinson to sell the vacant residential lot at 44 Candler to the adjacent property owner at 40 Candler. Do we have support? Chair offers support. We cannot take a vote until Mr. Ashafi returns from relieving himself.
I have a question.
He's just absent. Fine. Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Are you talking?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it possible that they can clarify? Because again,
Yes, ma'am, it is. The
I
floor
have
is open
two
for the motion.
applications. Can you please come up, sir? Last week you asked for 48.
Correct.
This week you asked for 44.
Originally, we asked for 44 and 48. The council said that more than one application at the same meeting
I made a motion.
was something that you guys weren't willing to vote on.
I recall
So you
that.
struck both of them down. Well, actually, no, you did not vote on them. You left them dead on the.
They died for lack of support.
Yes. So we are just now asking for 44 since it's the direct adjacent property to 40 Candler, because we are trying to create a fenced off lot to go with the property in order to have an area for the family to have that's protected. And private.
So the family there, are you saying have children? Is that what you're saying on this sheet here?
No.
So you want me to give you, or you want us to give you the lot on the left and the lot on the right?
There's a house. No, there's not a lot on the left.
There is no vacant lot to the right of the property. There is just a vacant
So
lot
they're
to the
both
left,
going that way.
on the left.
Mr.
We are
Flanagan,
only
can I
looking
show you
for
something?
44 Candler.
Excuse me for 1 second, Ms. Manica. I'm gonna show you something. Thank you, sir. We have additional questions? Any additional questions? We have a motion on the floor made by Council Pro Tim Robinson to approve the resolution to sell the vacant residential lot at 44 Candler to the adjacent property owner at 40 Candler. It was supported by the chair. Madam Deputy Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Councilman Ashafi,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin,
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica,
No.
Council Pro Tim Robinson,
Yes.
Council President Thomas.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Item E, under community development, the resolution to sell the vacant residential adjacent lot at 229-4 to the adjacent property owner at
Motion to approve.
347-4. Do we have the applicants in the audience? We don't have the applicants in the audience.
Council President, if I may. They're not required to be here.
I know. My colleagues, sometimes they want it, sometimes they don't. So I always ask. They're not here, they'll tell me they don't want to approve it because they're not here. So I just ask because you never know what you're gonna get when you come to council meeting. Mr. Hinton.
If everybody can hear me. Okay, the gentleman Dante Ramsey could not be here because he was.
He's here. He's here.
Okay, Mr. Ramsey, I asked were you here? I asked was the applicant here? That's no problem. So thank you. You solved the problem for me. Mr. Ramsey is here. So we have a motion on the floor from Councilman Al Shafi this is a resolution to sell the residential adjacent vacant lot at 229-4 to the adjacent property owner at 237-4. Mr. Al Shafi made a motion. Do we have support?
I second.
We have second from Council Pro Tim Robinson. We have questions. If not, we can go straight to the vote. Madam Deputy Clerk, would you please call the vote?
Councilman Ashafi,
I saw you sitting over there, Mr. Ramsey, so that's a yes. I saw you sitting there.
Councilwoman Martin,
Councilwoman Martin?
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica,
Yes.
Council Pro Tim Robinson,
Yes.
Council President Thomas.
Yes, thank you very much. Item F, under community development, a resolution to sell the vacant residential adjacent lot at 122 Richton to the adjacent owner at 118 Richton. We have the applicant in the room. Thank you very much, ma'am, for being acknowledged. Council, how do we proceed on this item?
I make a motion to sell the vacant lot residential to 122 Richton to the owner at 118.
Do we have Council Pro Tim
Second.
Robinson has a motion on the floor. We have a second from Councilman Al Shafi. Do we have any discussion? Madam Deputy Clerk, would you please call the roll on item F?
Councilman Ashafi,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin,
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica,
Yes.
Council Pro Tim Robinson,
Yes.
Council President Thomas.
Yes, thank you very much. Motion carries. On to item G, under community development. That is the resolution to sell the vacant residential adjacent lot at 190 Tuxedo to the adjacent owner at 196 Tuxedo. Do we have that property owner here?
Right there.
June Shannon, who's that? I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
Sure you are.
Okay, so wait, so we gotta get a motion on the floor. You can't bless us with your,
Support with questions.
okay, so we have a motion on the floor. We have a motion on the floor from Councilman Al Shafi. Do we have support?
Second.
We have second, we have Mr. Al Shafi and Councilwoman Robinson. Floor is open for questions, Mr. Al Shafi.
Mr. Shannon, is that one or two lots you guys have fenced in there? Because it looks like two.
196 is the house that I live in and own. 190 is one lot that is fenced in along with that property.
It looks like two, Mr. Shannon. I was just asking.
Yeah, no problem.
Because it looks like two lots.
According to the land bank and everybody else, it's just one.
Regrid is the website that shows you the size, dimensions, depth, parcel number for any piece of property in the United States of America. It's a
I did
fantastic
that, Council
website.
President. I did look it up, but in the pictures he sent me, this is a very large swatch of land that's fenced in.
He only gets what's in the parcel. Even if he takes a picture that makes it look bigger, he only gets what's in the parcel. That's all he gets. All right, we have a motion on the floor. Madam Deputy Clerk, would you please call the roll on item G?
Councilman Ashafi,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin,
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica,
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson,
Yes.
Council President Thomas.
Yes, thank you very much. Last item under community development. This is the resolution.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
This is a resolution to sell the vacant residential lot at 49 Winona to the adjacent property owner at 45 Winona. Do we have the applicant in the room? Okay. All right, let's take a look at this. I love Highland Park. I don't know how to feel about that. Let's see, yes. Okay. You own 45 Winona, correct?
Correct.
45 Winona, and you are looking to purchase 49 Winona. It looks like there's already a fence on that.
Right. Pre-existed our purpose.
Pre-existing your purchase. Okay, thank you for that. City Council, how should we deal with this one? Item H,
It was the same thing.
which is,
It was already a fence on the one we just did.
We were previously speaking on behalf of our father who can't be in town for a sick relative. So we're speaking right now on behalf of ourselves who own that house outright.
I'll make a motion to sell the vacant residential lot at 49 Winona to the property owner at 45 Winona.
we have a motion on the floor for item H. This is a resolution to sell the vacant residential lot at 49 Winona to the adjacent property owner at 45 Winona. We have support behind Ms. Robinson. We have support from Mr. El Shafi.
I'm sorry, question.
We have questions from Councilwoman Manica, if you would.
Is there a house on the other side?
There is a house on the other side of that at 55 Winona.
It's
No, I'm
actually
sorry.
a white fence. and
I'm sorry, it's not a house.
Thank you very much.
The pictures are misleading.
I'll do my research.
Don't matter.
Yes,
I
it
just want to
does.
know if there's a house over there.
Okay.
No,
well,
it's not.
Do your drive-bys.
It's not.
There's no house on the other side
No, ma'am.
of the lot he's asking for.
Mm-mm.
Anybody know whose fence it is?
Any additional questions? Say it again.
Anybody know whose fence it is? Did you put that fence up, sir?
He said it was pre-existing. Any additional questions from members? I am taking a look at this map.
We are rebuilding the fence.
So you own, who owns 56
I'm sorry,
Winona?
you're saying something, sir?
Huh?
Fence on the other side, we are rebuilding on our property line. The 49 would not have not touched. That is rebuilding.
Okay. There is something that is little.
How long have you owned the properties that you're asking about? I'm just, how long have you owned the properties that are?
7 years now.
7 years?
Okay. So. Okay, that's 60.
How many do you have?
Miss Man.
How many do you have?
How many properties do I own?
Yes.
Miss Man.
5 homes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
5 homes.
Oh, okay.
Any additional questions? I mean, America has some very
I met
strict,
the family that lives in the house adjacent to that lot last night.
Are you willing to sell to those families and make them owners?
so,
I'm just saying.
so,
The current residents? The current residents don't have any interest in buying the home. If they did, we can bring them back, but they have not expressed any interest in buying. They're happy.
Okay.
okay, so let me just do this for the sake of protecting us. America is notorious for having some of the best private property laws in the world. People get to own property. They don't have to disclose what they own. They have the privilege of keeping that private. That's where a limited liability company comes in. The vast majority of property that is owned in the country is not owned in someone's personal name. It's a strict minority of property ownership, typically people who own their primary residence. The majority of property that's owned is not owned in the name of an individual, so that people can keep property ownership private is one of those things that's protected by law heavily. So I want to make sure that I think I know where you're coming from because we've had conversations offline, but I want to make sure that we don't put ourselves in a position of jeopardy to show, to put a level of scrutiny on people to divulge what they own and what they don't own. It's their constitutional right to be able to keep that information private. And I want to make sure that we don't, even out of love, overstep our bounds to put ourselves in harm's way, if that makes sense. If it makes sense. So we have a motion on the floor to sell the residential property. Ms. Robinson made the motion. Mr. Al-Shafi supported it. Madam Deputy Clerk, could you please call the roll on that item?
Councilman Ashafi,
Oh, for the love of God, yes.
Councilwoman Martin,
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica,
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson,
Yes.
Council President Thomas.
Yep, motion carries. We're done with community and economic development. Thank you very much.
Lord, have mercy.
Y'all got someplace else to be?
Yeah.
Y'all got some, I'm just saying, I can show up at your job and criticize what you do.
Please do.
Okay.
So
I need the address.
Okay, so.
No.
So we're in item 7 under finances, the resolution to accept the Protecting Michigan pension grant from the state of Michigan in the amount of $19,833,186. Someone from the finance department. Carl, do we have you on the line?
Motion to approve.
I second.
We have a motion to approve already. You walked up here just for exercise. We have a motion to approve the resolution to accept the Protecting Michigan grant, pension grant. Motion by Councilman Al-Shafi, seconded by Councilwoman Martin. Councilman Pro Tem Robinson. We have any additional questions? We had this fine gentleman come up here to talk to us. We have no questions for him?
No,
He
sir.
explained it excellently the last time.
We just wanted to see your
Just one
smiling
comment.
face. Go ahead.
This is in June, the council approved applying for the grant for protecting Michigan pensions. We were awarded 100% of what we asked for. Again, that amounts to $19,833,195, which will be wired to us by the end of the month.
Fantastic.
And most significant with that is that currently we have more than 20 mills on our tax rolls to fund our pension. This takes us from an average of 15% funded to 60% funded.
Yeah.
So all things being equal, you should see a significant drop in the mill rate for the next July taxes. So
Thank you very much. All right, thank you very much, sir. All right.
Thank you
So
for the update.
We're moving on to item 8 under the police resolution to enter.
Vote.
I'm sorry. All this clapping and everything, this doesn't usually happen where people agree. So can we call the roll on item 7 for finance?
Councilman Ashafi,
Absolutely.
Councilwoman Martin,
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica.
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson.
Yes.
Council President Thomas.
Yes, motion carries. We're gonna move to item 8 under police.
Come on up here, Chief.
This is a resolution to enter the Clemens system, that is the court and law enforcement management information system membership through Oakland County. We have the House Council want to proceed with item 8.
Support with questions.
Support, we have to make a motion first.
Approve with questions.
Can we make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve with questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. El-Shafi's made a motion on the floor to approve item 8, the resolution to enter the Clemens system. Do we have support from Council Pro Tem Robinson? Questions?
Chief,
Yes, sir.
is there a specific reason why we're going through Oakland County as opposed to going through Wayne County? I mean, we are in Wayne County. I'm pretty sure they have the same program. Is there a reason why we're going through Oakland County. I mean, we don't have the best relationship with them in Macomb County. Is there a reason why we're going through Oakland County?
Yeah, so Oakland County, they're the ones who developed the software. Wayne County actually does not have this same software. As a matter of fact, several agencies in Wayne County utilize this software for reporting systems, online reporting, and ticket management. So the reason we went with this company is overall, we will save annually about $15,000. However, our first, hopefully we can do some great things.
Yes.
Maybe. We'll get into that. But we initially we have some setup fees that will offset those costs. They're little the setup fees to get going are a little, so the first year it's a little more expensive, but at approximately 2 years time, we'll be on board to save money.
So this $53,237.50, this is a one-time payment?
No, so what that is 33,000 of that, a little over 33,000 of that is going to be setup fees, data transfer, and everything like that. The annual cost is 18,800 annually. Currently, we're paying, we're actually paying 4,000 more for our reporting system, and we're paying $11,000 more for our online, for our public portal for online reporting and for our ticket writing. So, like I said, long term, we will save money and we have a better reporting system. We found that this system has a lot of benefits. They have a transparency portal that we talked about when I first started, that we're going to try and share that information with the public. They also have, again, their own online reporting software. They have jail tracking software and information sharing. So all the agencies share information among each other, which can help in aid in crime prevention.
Would this be something like spot crime?
Thank you, Ms. Manica,
that
for raising
gives
your
us-
hand.
That gives us the information of the crime and statistics in the city?
So I don't think it'll be exactly like that, but what it will do is allow us to share, again, some of the stats that we've been talking about, that we can share, like hotspots, crime mapping, things like that. And we'll hold our own data. So that'll help us as well.
Ms. Manica?
So in the addendum, thanks, Chief. In the addendum, it says, so those things that are checked are all the things that we're getting, the things that are checked.
The itemized list? Oh, yeah, the things that are checked, correct.
And so the live scan, the mug shot, all that is going to be included. And then there's a crash report for 15. Does that mean we pay that? Or if somebody wants a crash report, that's their charge?
So that's their charge. We're gonna, so what they do is they offer this for the courts as well. So 30th District Court has agreed to get on board with this, to where people can pay their fines and access their information through this system as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Councilman Ashafi?
Chief, is the court participating in any shape, form, or fashion financially with this bill? Because I'm looking at the charges here, I could get a year in the county for this kind of money. At least a year.
Well, so here's the thing. They, as a municipality, we solicited them for this program. They require that 30th District Court for us get on board. So they offer nationwide to, or all the participating agencies, their courts are included for free. So the courts are not required to pay any additional money.
Okay.
All right, we don't have any additional questions on item 8. Madam Deputy Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilman Ashafi?
I'm gonna have to say no.
I'm sorry?
I'm gonna have to say no.
Okay, keep going. He said no.
Councilwoman Martin?
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica?
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson?
Yes.
Council President Thomas?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, council.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item 9, underwater, it's a resolution for the acceptance of the 2023 State High Water Infrastructure Grant Program to the State of Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy by the City of Highland Park Water and Engineering Department. City Council, how do we proceed on item 9?
Motion to approve with questions.
We have a motion on the floor from Councilman El Shafi to approve with questions. Do we have support?
Support.
We have support from Councilwoman Manica. Mr. El Shafi, the floor is yours.
Ms. Square.
Oh, I was gonna the water department come up.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought
Well, you
you
know, you
was.
more versed in this than they are.
Well, it's exciting.
Because we came in and asked for that loan and they converted it to a grant, which they should.
Okay.
That's right.
It's okay. All right, Ms. Square, that's all I wanted to know, that
Okay.
we were getting it and we wasn't paying anything out. It's coming to us, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Great. It's
so
10
much.
million, so that'll replace a lot of water lines.
Indeed it will.
So we
Any
won't have
additional
that
questions?
deficit then?
Sorry.
We won't have that problem? We won't have the water bill problem?
Well, remember, you have about, initially, we asked for 100 million. It was gonna take $100 million to replace all of them. And we're down to about 70 million now. We've had loans, $20 million worth of loans. This was gonna be another loan. These are low interest loans that come from the federal government to the states, and then the states are supposed to distribute them to the communities that need it the most.
Right.
And this year, I guess because of all of the hell we're raising, they decided to convert the loan to a grant. So this is the maintenance of the infrastructure. This is the underground pipes that GLEWA says are leaking. Right? And so we have and what communities do to fight those allegations is they dry up their system. So they replace the so-called old leaking pipes and they put in new pipes. And so that, and along with fixing major leaks and all of that, is supposed to reduce our costs. So we'll see.
Okay, so it's not bringing our bill down though.
We'll see, because we're not in control of the bill. They send us the bill. And you know, we're in a big fight with them because we have unmetered water and sewer. You know, we
I
had
see
the
you, Ms.
plant
Ross.
shut down. And so we're in this whole process now. We're in mediation. We actually had an emergency mediation session last week because of what happened in court. And we're hoping to reschedule the upcoming hearing till another month because the state wants to still try to work on getting the funds to assist the city with the impending levy to avoid that. So we're still on it.
Ms. Robinson?
How are we going to reduce the volume of sewage? Well, this is for water leaks. So there, you got two things going on. You've got miles and miles of water lines. These are the lines that are then connected to the properties. And then you have the sewer lines. This is all water. This is water, you know, now we go in and we replace the lead line to the house. That added to the cost of the job. That added like another $7,000 per house to the job, but the state changed the law after Flint. The sewer lines are a little different because once we get to the point where we're dealing with the sewer, we'll just have to reline those. So those are cast iron lines that you will reline. So this is strictly water. This is when you see DW, when you see dwarf, that means drinking water. So this is water lines. This is what we've been ordered to fix first. After this will come the sewer lines. The transmission lines, that's another issue that we're dealing with because, you know, our position is that all the outer counties are flowing transmission sewage through our town and we paying for it instead of them. And so bottom line, it's not over. We're going to have this long-term relationship with GLEWA, probably forever until they get sent back to the city of Detroit. So the sewer isn't the issue right now. It's the water. And this is a grant for the water. So we're getting there. We're about third completed. Time actually flies. And Metro's done a great job because what they did was really come in and they provided some organization for all these capital improvements. So things are going to slowly get better, but we're just going to stay at it and until we dry up the system. And once we dry up the system, they won't be able to overcharge us because the system will be dried up. And you know, I can go on all night about this, but I won't.
Thank you so much, ma'am. All right, so any additional questions? Otherwise, I'll call for a vote on item A. Seeing none, Madam Deputy Clerk, would you call for a vote on item 9A, resolution for the acceptance of the 2023 State High Infrastructure Grant Program, the state of Michigan?
Councilman Ashafi?
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin?
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica?
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson?
Yes.
Council President Thomas?
Yes, thank you very much. Now to item B, underwater resolution for the acceptance of the 2023 American Rescue Plan State Revolving Fund Grant Program to the state of Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy by the City of Highland Park Water Department. City Council, how are we going to deal with item B?
To approve questions.
We have a motion on the floor from Councilman El Shafi with questions. Do we have support?
Support.
Support from Councilwoman Manica. Your question, sir?
Ms. Square, is this the same or is this something different?
This is some more money. I'll let Jerry talk about this. It's almost another $1 million in various improvements. A week last week, 19 million, 10 million, and now this.
Good evening, council, citizens.
Good evening.
Evening.
Councilman Shafi, what was your question again?
Yeah, I wanted to know, is this the same or is this something different?
So this is a different grant. This one is really geared towards the sewer and doing a feasibility study to reduce the amount of sewer that we're sending to Gleewood.
Okay.
And so we do a feasibility study, update the ordinance, and then implement a stormwater management program throughout the city for most of all new development. So if you look at the Means Group development, you see that they have a pond over there.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the start of this, but this will be on a larger scale for $1.5 million.
Okay. Is there any road in sight for the metering of those lines? Say any
Repeat
road
your
in sight
question.
for that?
Yes.
What did you ask again, Mr. Shafi?
Now, I just asked, is there any road in sight for the metering of the lines? And he said yes, and that's all we need to go as far into. I'm good.
All right, thank you, sir. We have any additional questions, Ms. Manica?
Yes. So just to be clear, when you're talking about this is to do things like add trees. You're eliminating the concrete. Okay.
That's correct.
Madam Pro Tem?
I had sent Mr. Garrett a text in regards to the reports on the taps and the lead testing data. When can we get that? Because I don't remember when the last time we had it.
You said the lead testing data?
Yeah.
Um,
Are you still testing homes in Highland Park for lead?
Yes, we have to do that every year annually by Eagle. I believe there's 30 homes that are selected throughout the city to get a good distribution. And then usually homes that are tested high are notified. And then we also have free water filters that are handed out at the water department.
Okay, so when can we get?
And we can get that data. I think some of the results are included in the CCR, the Consumer's Confidence Report.
Okay.
And that's available online, but we also can send a copy too.
Thank you.
Ms. Al Shafi?
That lead testing, do y'all test the same homes every year or do you randomly test?
No, I think so. Eagle requires us to offer that to the homes that were tested the previous year, but you know, sometimes people respond, sometimes they don't. So we try to get it. You have to get a good distribution throughout the system.
Okay, I don't see any additional hands going up. It appears we can go ahead and vote on item B. Madam Deputy Clerk, would you please call the roll on item B? This is the resolution for the acceptance of the 2023 American Rescue Plan State Revolving Fund Grant.
Councilman Ashafi?
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin,
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica,
Yes.
Council Pro Tem Robinson,
Yes.
Council President Thomas.
Yes, thank you very much. That includes all agenda items. We're going to move into the section of citizens' participation. I will be cutting it to 2 minutes to everybody tonight because I have a room full of people and I want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to speak and that we don't catch the moon in here. So I want to make sure that we all have a chance to speak at 2 minutes. Citizens can speak on any item that they would like to discuss for a time of no more than 2 minutes. I see hands up, Madam Ford, you threw your hand up first in the back, if you don't mind coming to the podium. And then I saw you as well, ma'am, over here to your left, my right. And I saw you over here as well, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Renee Ford. I live on West Buena Vista. First is a comment. When you guys were arguing or discussing the marijuana issue, we heard you really good. But when you come time to discussing everything else, so can we do something about this mic situation?
Yes, ma'am.
Some of us are, getting a little older and we can't hear as well, and we shouldn't have to strain. I see some people have 2 or 3 mics on their desk. So that's the first thing, our IT person or whoever, we need to get some better mic.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
second one is to the young lady for the seniors. In this Detroit area AG proposal, will they be offering some of the same services that they offer in Detroit?
All of the, so yes, I'm not sure exactly what services you're referencing. Each of the services, every one of the regions, take care of their specific region. So the one that we have, they take care of it. So whatever issues you have, you call them and they'll, whatever.
Reason why I say that, not to cut you off, is because me and my mom both are seniors and you speak with us every week, Ms. Ford. And a couple of things I inquired about for her, they said we don't do it in Highland Park. So my question to you is, with this plan coming in, will those services that they offer in Detroit be offered in Highland Park? And what is the good point of having Detroit area agent here if we're not gonna be able to get some of the same things Detroit get?
Well, that's why you and I maybe need to talk, because from my understanding, all the services are available all across. If you're getting something different, I'd love to hear what that is.
Yeah, I've been in Highland Park since 70.
During
and
council
my
affairs,
parents
ma'am.
59. And no, we don't. They tell you that, oh, we do Highland Park, but when you come to get those services, no, they don't. So can you please call me? You have my number. We talk all the time.
Well, that's Ms. Sharon, but I'm not.
Okay, so somebody needs
What's
to
your
call.
name?
Renee Ford.
Renee Ford, me and Ms. Sharon will reach out.
Thank you, Ms. Ford.
Thank you.
Next citizen, please.
I would like to talk to you afterwards, Ms. Ford. Renee.
Robinson said that. Ms. Robinson.
I said that.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I came here in behalf of, I've been living at 75 years since 1961. And I've been having problems with the sewage. Every time it rains, the water comes up in the basement. I've had the house snaked out twice because I thought it might have been in the line. I've had a whole new sewage thing put in 2012. I had a whole new sewage thing put in and it worked fine. Okay, but the last year, when it rains, the water come up and the plumber said, it's not your house, it's the drainage out on Davidson. I'm on Davidson and John R. Okay, I've had, the lot is vacant on either side of me. When they tore the house down in 2014, they tore the house down on the corner. Well, when they tore the house down, they left a tree there right on the fence line. Well, it's grapevine over in that lot, and all of the grapevine grew up in the tree. I have a picture of it. Grew up in the tree, all on the lines going to the house, the electrical lines, and they cut the grass and nothing else. So I had a tree people come to cut it down in the lot. I don't own the lot, but I had them to cut it down. I paid $1,000. and the grapevine is still growing up on the fence. They cut the grass and leave the grapevine. You know, how come they don't, it's in the lot, how come they don't pull all that down? You know what I'm saying? They keep letting it grow. I shouldn't have to go over there and work.
Have you had and so I'm not supposed to make commentary on what you say. I will ask a question to see if I can provide some resources. Have you had a chance to reach out to Mr. Reese and his DPW team?
No, I haven't.
Have you talked to anybody at the water department?
No, I haven't.
I would encourage you, if you gentlemen could provide her with a card, some reference to talk about that basement flooding situation. I know that the gentlemen were.
Only time it does it is when it rains real hard.
Yes, ma'am. But to your point, they had mentioned before at a previous meeting, as they go through and repair the system.
Okay.
As they go through and repair the system, sometimes it creates a situation where they have a section that's broken and they make a repair. And those repairs, those cascading repairs, can cause problems.
Right.
And the only way that they know is if you reach out to them.
Okay, but I didn't know who to go to.
Yes, ma'am. So these are the gentlemen here from MCA that you can probably grab a card from them. Can you give me, can you guys give out loud the phone number for customer service?
I don't have the ink with you.
Okay.
Here.
Yep, that'll get the information for you. Now, so that should solve both your problems. Reaching out to Mr. Reese, because I believe if that's a city-owned lot that's being cut, if it's privately owned, that's a different. Okay, that'll be the person to reach out to. I want to thank you for that too, while you're getting your resources. Do we have anybody else that wants to come up to the mic and discuss? Ma'am, I saw your hand up over here on my right, your left. Yes. All right, you look like a new face. That just means you just new to me. So if you don't mind introducing yourself.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everybody. My name is Raymond Parks. My wife is
Emily Park.
Okay. We're owners and founders of a nonprofit, a 501c3 called Uplift Family Services. Uplift Program. We also have a for-profit for maternal infant health, which is called Uplift Family Services. But we're here to introduce Drop the Gun, Pick Up the Mic, back to school pet rally. And we were looking for venues around the city. Just a little history, so you know that we're not new to Highland Park. In 2018, I helped get the Terry Do Ride Day going, October 19th, with Soul Harvest Ministry. I attend Soul Harvest Ministry.
Okay.
But we didn't have a success with trying to get the gym over at Old St. Benedict up and going, and then people tried to demolish the building, vandalize and things like that. But however, we're here and we're still looking at bring services to Highland Park from all ages, from youth to veterans. A little history on me. My degree is programming for recreation administration. And I actually coached at Barber right up the street, the girls basketball team this year. So I do my debt not as a debt I owe, but a seed I sow. As a young man, being an advocate for our youth, just trying to see what can we do to be a face in the old Hackett building and bringing services to your community.
So I appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much. Do you have any literature that you can leave with us?
Yes, sir. I did bring some for each one.
On the arm to the podium here, we can have some for members of city council. But typically, if you want to come to a subsequent meeting, if you have some handouts that you would like to have there, because the people that you see here, I call them the usual suspects. These are people that always show up for meetings. But of the people that I interact with, 90% of the people that I talk to in Highland Park, I see outside of city council meetings. But if you bring the stuff and you leave it, there's also community organizations. Mama Shu is here. Yeah. She's a good distributor of information as well. Yeah. Bring some of this stuff to us so we can get it. Talk to the mayor. She can have it put downstairs in the front so that people can see this as we move into the end of the school year. This what's up. Yes, so I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for your input.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
We have additional citizens. Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. You mind introducing yourself?
Good evening. My name is Dasmonique Carr. I am, and this is Prince, my son. I'm a resident of Detroit, but years ago I wanted to buy land in Highland Park when Wayne County Land Bank owned it. And I wonder if there's a transparent process in regards to how to buy city land, vacant land in particular. I'm a farmer and I have a mobile grocery store, and I want to bring certain services like that to the city to help increase access to local foods and things like that. So yeah, is there a transparent process?
There
for
is,
that?
and I can answer that question very simply. You can go to the real estate window.
Real estate window?
Yes, downstairs.
Oh,
There
okay.
are windows. There's one for the clerk, there's one for the treasurer. You can go to the real estate window and you can ask for an application.
Okay.
The application is very transparent. It lets you know what the criteria is for purchasing property from the city of Highland Park. To be very transparent with you, the process has been very slow. The city has been in a gridlock for a while because there wasn't a process in place. We hope to have an auction in place soon so that the city-owned residential property can be auctioned off to people like yourself. I own a farm or two myself.
I think I know your wife.
All right, right. I'm an urban farmer, so I'm really feeling people that are taking the initiative to grow their own food at their home. It's a real life-changing thing, and I see you got a little man over there, so I appreciate that even more. So hopefully that answers your questions. If not, if you come back to the city and you talk to some of the people at those windows, the building department is right there as well. If you can't get the city, they'll have additional information for you. All right, thank you so much for your input. We have an additional citizen. Ma'am in the back, please.
Good evening again. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I just wanted to say on July the 31st, we did our 5th annual Shango Lights Festival. It became clear to me, and I got the documentation, that we were not in ordinance, and so I have the paperwork now. We are moving it to, we have to do it in between June the 29th and July the 4th. I want to apologize to any of the citizens who heard the firecrackers and who heard we had a beautiful time, but I think that it bothered some neighbors. And so now that we know, we will move it. We have no problem with moving it in June, the last Saturday in June. I also want to thank the police department and also the fire department for coming to the fireworks just to make sure that things are safe. That's just a formality that I've been doing, sending an email and saying, hey, we're doing this just as a safety precaution. On Saturday, we had approximately 10,000 people who attended the food festival that we hosted for the Hungry Black Man. And I just want to say it was just so beautiful to see the people milling through the streets, Black businesses operating and also selling out. I want to apologize to the neighbors if they parked in your driveways and blocked it and everything. We really tried to control it as much as we could. We did have 10 of our own security officers on staff to be able to help to control everything. And it was no problems, no drama, and it was just a beautiful time. It just showed me how much that we can just come together, and folks that really want to do business. It exposed people to Highland Park that had never been there. Actually, a lot of folks out of state came. They vended. It was beautiful. It was about 100 vendors there on one block. And I don't know historically, has that ever been that many people packed on one block? So I just want to thank you for your patience, and definitely I want to get it right and make sure that I'm in alignment with whatever we're doing here in the village and also Highland Park. Thank you so much. Peace and love.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much for that. I have to just go off on it was the bomb. We were driving in from Grand Rapids that day, and I'm hearing about it. We're in Lansing and we're hearing about it as we came back to the city. And so we were able to come to the end of the event.
Council affairs.
Yeah, it was a fantastic thing. You're absolutely right. Council affairs.
Thank you.
All right, so with the help of Council Pro Tem here, we're gonna move into, do we have any additional citizens? One more? I'm sorry, ma'am. I got my head down. You gotta forgive me. It just look easy. It's not. Thank you so much for being patient with me.
I'd like to ask, I don't know if it comes through the council or the mayor's office, communication with the city.
Communicate, that's through the mayor's office.
Okay.
Although each council member does have an email address and a phone
Yeah,
number.
because we had a big problem on Saturday with communication.
Okay.
We paid to have the football field cleaned up.
Ooh,
And
okay.
they sent somebody out and paid them money to clean up behind our cleanup. And we had just only done it 2 days before. And the stuff that we left because of the balloon release, they didn't do that. They just left that. If they wanted to do something, they should have done what we had not received. And I thought that was very offending to the people that thought they tried to do something with the community. And I just wanted to speak on the fact that I've been coming to city council meetings for a long time. And I have never seen so much disrespect between members and owners. I have never seen that. I was not brought up like that. I don't know how many of you were taught to disrespect people, regardless to your education, regardless to your background. I was never taught to put myself above anybody. And I definitely was not taught to let people put themselves above me. And I think that this needs to be addressed in the city council.
Yes, ma'am.
Because if I'm talking, just like you have everybody else hold their hand up, everybody should be subjected to the same thing.
Absolutely.
And you should not be disrespecting anybody at any time. And especially with the city council, because you're standing before us as an example. You're an example. Why would you be an example to the people doing things like that? It bothered me. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not gonna let any of you disrespect me. I will handle it. But that doesn't have anything to do with the city per se. And the things that I brought forth to you, thank you from the mayor's office to doing the street. Thank you. The mayor did come by and talk to me and see the things that I'm doing in my home. But I still need that debris next door cleaned off so I can see and sit on my front porch.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ma'am, can I have your name for that? I want to make sure we follow up with you.
Helen Washington.
Helen Washington.
Portland, 313-866-5898.
What's your address on Cortland again, ma'am? 388 Cortland. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I guess I'll bring citizens' comment to a close. We will move into council affairs, starting with the councilman from District 3, Mr. El Shafi.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight a disservice was done to you. And I don't know if you paid attention to it, but a disservice was done to you. Now, I voted no. But tonight, a third party was allowed to take control of your property and auction it off with no oversight from this council, no knowledge of who they are or where they come from, what their qualifications are. They didn't even come to us in the workshop to tell us what their plans were or how things were going to go. So now this particular item is no longer at this council's hands, and I guarantee you there's going to be some abuse. I tell you all the time, there's a land grab in the city and they want you out. You are not a part of this picture. So I fought diligently and very hard since I've been up here to make sure that Highland Park retains control of its land and its property and has the right to dictate who receives that property and when they receive it. You gave that up tonight. And it's a great loss to us. And then I sit here and I watch the administration say in one breath that we did not follow the rules, we did not follow the process, but then turn right around and sat right over there talking to Ms. Martin and admitted to her that she did follow the rules and did follow the process. Your loyalty can't be that blind. It cannot be that blind. I'm sorry. If the shoe was on the other foot and I double talked you in that manner, how fast would you move to get rid of my Muslim ass? How fast would you move to get rid of me? If I double talked you like you would double talk tonight, because she stood here in front of me and told me that we're lying, we didn't follow the process. But then she stood right over there in that booth and talked to Ms. Martin and admitted that Ms. Martin followed the process. In the same breath. And nobody heard anything. You all clapped. You applauded the mayor. Congratulations for not paying attention. And if I offend anybody, it wasn't my intent. But sometimes, in order for people to pay attention, you have to point out a fault. You have to point it out whether they like it or not. The truth has never been pretty. It's always been ugly. That's why people lie to you. It's easier to accept the lie than accept the fact. Your loyalty cannot be this blind. Nobody up here deserves that type of loyalty from you where they can double talk you and say one thing and in the same breath say something else. It's unacceptable. You shouldn't be allowed to have anybody do that to you. So there was a great deal of injustices that were done here tonight, and I feel for this city. It's going to be some abuse that's coming, and there's nothing this council will be able to do about it because now they have control of your property. Congratulations. And on another subject, I would like to talk about the murder that happened here at Woodward Bistro, or what is this place on the corner here, Charmaine?
Woodward Avenue Bar and Grill?
Okay. Woodward Avenue Bar and Grill. Now, there were several Highland Park residents who were present, and they said that it took our city services 15 minutes to show up on a shots fired call. It took the ambulance another 30. They said the young man was still alive. He might have made it had he gotten service on time. I'm concerned about our response time for the residents of Highland Park. This is unacceptable. We're too small for you to take so long to get here. It's only 2.9 square miles. It's only 2.9 square miles. I don't care where you at in the city. It shouldn't take more than 5 to 7 minutes, even if you're coming from one end to the next. They said that young man laid out there for 30 minutes, 15 minutes before Highland Park police showed up. I find that unacceptable. They said the Detroit police was there before HP police. Now, these are eyewitness residents that are telling me what happened. I'm very concerned about that. I want to know, where was our police officers? What were we doing that we did not respond in a timely fashion to a shots fired call in this little ass city? And where was the ambulance coming from? Royal Oak? Do we even have an ambulance service here in the city? Are they posted at the fire department where they should be posted? Because I know that we approved the contract. So why did the ambulance take 30 minutes for 2.9 square miles? Why did the police take 15 minutes? These actions are unacceptable, ladies and gentlemen. We need to stay awake. We need to stay awake. We need to pay attention. You are under attack, whether you believe it or not. You can't afford to be this naive, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. This is one luxury you don't have. The vultures are circling. Highland Park is a prime target. And if we're not careful, the next time you look at this council, it won't look nothing like here. Keep that in mind. And I yield back.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Martin?
Good evening, residents. I'm just going to keep this very brief as of right now. I just want to make some brief announcements right now. The District 2, Precinct 4, we're going to be doing some cleanups that's going to be coming up. I'm going to go ahead and put the flyers downstairs, outside. So we're going to have dumpsters that are going to come out, and we want to make sure that we fill up those dumpsters before we go ahead and return them back to the company. I want to also say thank you for coming out this evening. And for those of you who stayed here that long, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Manica?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out. I do want to just make a point that I would ask anyone who receives property to make sure that you get all the information that you need about your property, that you want to purchase, that you have to have a fence, that how much property it is, whether or not you have to actually have a development plan before doing that. If you add a structure to your property, that you are increasing your property tax. I hope you know that. If you're adding a driveway, what are you doing in regards of a water bill? Last city council meeting, some people did not know that once they purchased that lot that they asked us for, that they had more property tax, that they had a water bill. You have a water bill on a lot. Okay, so make sure that you're aware of that. I was gonna tell Mr. Hinton, happy birthday, but he got away. So happy birthday, Mr. Hinton. And also that department, please make sure you're giving that information out. It is very important because we are setting ourselves up maybe for failure if you do not know those things, with adding to that. I want to thank, I know it's in District 2, but I do want to thank Mama Shu and Avalon Village. It was a wonderful time. I met a lot of people that did come from other cities, other places. I had people text me saying, hey, why you didn't tell me? It was in your city. I'm sorry, I don't know the hungry man, but I did get a chance to see him. And so that is pleasing. We have got to make our property also pleasing. Fade Away or Mr. Petways are increasing their visibility on Woodward as well. I like the fact that they added some flowers. It's what you see in a lot of other cities. We don't have those extra poles as a city to add flowers, but that was a good touch. If you have development plans or you just got a lot, please, please, please stay on task and understand that rules still follow, like parking on your grass, things like that. Because you own a property does not stop that ordinance. Okay, so please understand that. I need you to really understand that. I need for people who are having projects and getting more property to make sure that you are following and keeping up with a timeline. In some cases, if that timeline is not reached, it actually can go back to the city. The other thing is we can't continue to give property to people and they're not completing their projects. I know money and funding is an issue, but again, I said prior to this, if you come along and say, hey, this is what's happening, I got to extend my timeline, then so be it. But if you also been here for a while, I think that you should already be working on the property that you have. So I expect, I'm going to be honest, I expect if we gave you or we said yes to you having some property, that you improve the property that you had, as well as the property that you asked for. Because there's only so much growing flowers and cutting the grass that we're going to do. Okay, because actually building on those properties would bring us income tax and finances. So some of you may not understand that or still are not understanding what I'm saying to you. Please take the time to go to the appropriate people to find that out. Go to some workshops, but etc. You cannot continue to come in here and ask for stuff and you have not done anything to the property that you already have. It's defeating the purpose to me. I appreciate everyone that participates in our community assistance days. They have been very, very successful. We are seeing more and more people. I want to thank the water department for being part of that. Water department is usually there. There's another one coming up in August at New Mount Moriah Baptist Church, again on the 26th, along with some other services. There will also be some other workshops coming along, so please look for that. And then also New Grace, we'll be having one in October, on October 7th, in case, and so that's also in District 2. So I'm asking too, I'm suggesting or asking my city council members to please just come out and show your face. You don't have to stay all day, but come and check out and see what that looks like, those community projects or assistance days. Also, Revival Tabernacle, I am pleased to say, and they're doing a lot as well, that their school, Sigma Leadership Academy, is now in that area, is in that church. So keep that in mind. I think I'm just trying to cover a lot. There were some other projects coming up too. Park Place has their upcoming block party. So remember that that's there. I know Mr. Shannon had a few things that just recently happened. So again, take some time out, go around your city and your area. The school board had a nice jazz event. So I didn't forget you over there. I see a nice jazz event. So just go through and see it. I thank everyone. I'm probably forgetting something. I know, outdoor resources is coming August 26th at Hackett. School supply giveaway is from 10 to 1. That was missed a little bit earlier, but that is the City of Highland Park. Also, Senator Chain and MTCA presents that outdoor resource fair. I hope I covered everyone. I tried to quickly do that. Oh, and thank the bike. They were bike riding. Slow roll. It was in District 1 this time. So I'm glad that they exist too. Everybody have a great evening. And again, thanks for coming out.
Thank you, ma'am. Madam Pro Tem.
Good evening, everyone. First, I would like to acknowledge my pastor. Thank you. I love you guys. And in our city charter, any two council people can call for a meeting. So we will be having more workshops coming up. Thank you.
The workshop is not in the charting. It sure is not. So let me just tell you to the resident, hey, you can have a special meeting to the resident at 388 Cortland. Sir, did I interrupt you when you were talking? Did I interrupt you when you were talking?
She's talking.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. She said thank you. I'm not talking to you, Mr. Ashafi. She said thank you. She said thank you and she finished. Am I wrong, Madam Pro Tem? Did you not say thank you? Did you not say? I heard thank you. We can go back and watch the tape. So listen, ma'am, I just wanted to speak to you in particular. I can only work with what I'm given. Ma'am, listen. From day one, sitting in this chair, have a good night. From day one, sitting in this chair, there's been a concerted effort by some of the other members of City Council to undermine the work that I do.
I understand that.
No, but let me finish. But no, it's not, ma'am, because, can you hear me okay? Okay. My mother went to the community college. So when I came to Highland Park as a child, I was so proud to be in this community because the people in Highland Park were a very special kind of people. I felt appreciated and I felt respected. Never in my wildest dream did I expect to be a member of this city council and to have deliberate efforts to undermine the work that we do. Some members of the city council make a big deal out of skills and qualifications when it comes to other people. And this is council affairs, ma'am. This is the part where I do get to talk uninterrupted.
I'm just saying.
This is the only part where I do get to talk uninterrupted. It's the only part. It's the
You're a council president.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm trying to explain. You about the same age as my mother, and you look like her. So I'm trying to explain myself to you.
I'm probably older than your mother.
My mother's in her late 70s.
Yeah, well, I'm almost 80.
So is she.
My thing is.
But ma'am, what you're showing me right now, no one else talked over the other council people.
But what I'm saying,
no, ma'am, no one else talked over the other council people. Not a single person talked over Miss Martin. Nobody talked over Miss Manica. Nobody talked over Mr. Al-Shafi. Nobody talked over Miss Robinson.
I'm screaming and hollering.
I have the microphone up close to me because we can't hear.
In case you didn't know, the tone of voice that you portrayed.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Was really disrespectful to us and to your council members.
Ma'am, ma'am, let me just do this.
My name is Miss Washington.
Miss Washington, while you were talking, let me tell you what happens to me regularly in this chair. It doesn't happen to me at my day job. Regularly in this chair, people talk to me and they're disrespectful when I'm sitting in this chair in a way that they would never be out in public.
But it's your job to portray the presidency.
Yes, ma'am, but I'm a human. I'm not Jesus Christ. I'm not Muhammad. May peace be upon him. I'm just a man. I'm just a man.
As long as you're sitting in that chair,
yes, ma'am,
you have to portray the position that
yes, ma'am. And so again, to my point, this evening, there are 5 of us here. And the only person that was talked over and interrupted was myself.
Because you were yelling.
Because I'm talking into the microphone and not this microphone.
Yeah.
So how about I talking to this microphone? Does it sound different?
Yeah, but it's not how you sounded when you came on. Your demeanor has changed completely from where you were screaming.
So yes, ma'am. So this is my normal experience in this chamber. Every week I come, ma'am, are you gonna let me finish?
That's what you should use. Come on, don't you?
I'm just saying, ma'am, are you gonna let me finish? Because you and I having a personal conversation. I'd be more than willing to have with you after the meeting. But we're in council affairs.
That's your tone. You're not ready to have a meeting with me. Believe me.
I'll say it again. Tonight we have 4 people speak. I'm the 5th person. I'm the only person that somebody talked over.
Because you were screaming. We didn't come here and hear you screaming for your personal opinion.
It's not about my personal opinion. You know what? Having concluded all business of the city of Highland Park and finished the agenda, the chair is willing to entertain a motion to adjourn. Do we have said a motion?
I make a motion. No. To adjourn. Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Aye, okay. You guys have a wonderful night.